Dias stood on an endless, majestic plain stretching beyond human sight. He claimed the massive territory, but all he saw was endless grass. His mother's dying wish was for him to protect those close to his heart. His father's last request, defend the weak, honoring his parents, tragically lost young, he lived by their words. Heartbroken, he left their memory. At 15, a bloody war erupted. Honoring his parents and protecting innocents, he joined the army. The war lasted 20 years, and by the end, she was 35. They signed a treaty and the fighting stopped. Peace finally arrived, giving him a chance to rest. He was soon officially named a hero, his elite combat skills setting him far above every other soldier. His Highness thanked him for victories, deciding he deserved more, a feudal lord title and land. A simple warrior who only knew war, he was baffled by his new rank. His mission, guard the land, protect the people, and collect the king's taxes. He reluctantly packed a cart and set off to visit his new possessions. He rushed out of the capital with zero prep, shadowed by an official the entire trip. They arrived, stopping at the new territory center as the official outlined the plot's boundaries. Ahead lay endless grass, leaving him with nothing but flat, empty plains. The official thought the place suited Dias, leaving him to make the best of it. The official named him Dias Neutros, and the name stuck. Dias, relieved, found clean water. He'd only known dirty war water, so this clean source was a comfort, yet after miles he saw no trees. He wondered if the grass was useful, but everything looked oppressive and terrible. He'd planned tomorrow. To survive this wasteland, he gave himself only 2 days. He'd stay briefly to help someone and honor his parents' final wish before leaving the plane. Suddenly, a voice rang out, demanding he wake up. He opened his eyes to a girl standing there, looking like an ordinary human. The horn on her head shattered his first impression, making her demand his identity and purpose. Dias introduced himself and said he was just napping, so the girl asked why he picked this spot. He admitted he had nowhere else to stay. She raged he was on her plane. He calmly replied he was told to live here. She insulted him as an idiot, but he just agreed, claiming this was his home now. She asked his purpose. He said he must survive critical situations. She aimed her bow, ready to fire. Terrified, Dias begged her to stop, but she demanded the truth to spare his life. He swore he was sincere. His life's purpose, fulfill parents' wish, protect the weak. She accused him of lying, but Dias didn't blink, forcing her to decide, friend or foe. Dias declared he was her friend and protector, promising to defend her from any threat. Suddenly, the girl's horn flared with a mysterious blue light, catching Dias off guard. Confused and anxious, the girl gasped, "Blue fire shouldn't exist. It's a mistake, impossible." She snatched Dias's hand and yanked him, but he resisted, trying to read her. The girl offered to take him to her village, just follow without questions. Dias heard village, but doubted any settlement existed on this desolate plain. He followed her until sunset, reaching a village more beautiful than he'd ever seen. Now, they're leading him straight to the village head. The leader noticed Aruna brought an unfamiliar man and wondered if he caused the blue light. Aruna found him sleeping, interrogated him, but he was stubborn, acted strangely, and asked nonsense. When she asked if he was friend or foe, a blue light suddenly appeared. The chief asked about red light, but Aruna insisted it was pure blue, leaving him intrigued. Calling him the Blue Man, she asked for his name's meaning. Dias hesitated but introduced himself, prompting the chief to call the name mysterious. She asked for the same kindness he showed Aruna, and Dias finally learned the girl. Dias claimed everyone on his land, peasants included, were his friends since the plain was now his. When the chief asked why, Dias replied it was his duty. The leader didn't ask who assigned the mission. Dias hesitated, then said he likely got it from the king. Suddenly, Aruna aimed an arrow at Dias. The chief urged patience. She again pressed Dias to explain everything from the start, including the king's order. Dias didn't fully understand the story, but he still shared his past and the tragedy after his parents died. With the truth revealed, the leader finally understood. She never expected such a noble soul in anyone without a horn. Naming him Dias the Blue, she declared him a lord sworn to protect his people. The leader asked what if the peasants reject him, but even if they aren't subjects, they can still be friends. Dias confidently offered to share the plain if forced, acting as a neighbor and helping them, believing they'd become friends. Dias grew suspicious of the chief's questions. He realized these villagers might not be his subjects, even on his land. This shocked him. Everything here should belong to him. Chief confirmed his suspicion. Peasants weren't Dias's subjects. They opposed his king, battling Dias for years. Once enemies, they're now friends. She confirms he's a rare blue one, so he can live in peace. The leader told him to look up and hear his story. She was Maro, leader of the Oni. The Oni battled for these lands for 50 years, war after war, until finally defeated and driven out. He wondered why they stayed on the plain after the expulsion, but Moro explained their horns held magic, granting them superhuman powers. Using fog magic to cloak their entire village, they returned home to live in secret from the crown. Impressed, Diaz hesitated to tell his king, but Moro shared the secret because he was glowing blue. Soul judgment magic exposes hostility in red, but it hasn't triggered. Red means evil, white is safe, and blue brings luck. Moro admitted he never met anyone so stubborn yet sincere about their parents' wishes, leaving Diaz wondering if it was even a compliment. The chief ignored his people's fortune under their feudal lord, yet even exposed, Diaz saw them roam far, living in peace, safe from persecution. Moro reveals they're trapped by the meme cattle. She demands Diaz step up as a worthy lord, warning that if he fails, no one knows who will take over. Diaz asks about the old lord. Moro explains the vicious, ill lord lived elsewhere and died. The elder then offers Diaz full village support, food, shelter, even livestock, knowing he has nothing. The boss hid the village from the capital and the king. Diaz's silence now protects its location, and he can use Aruna's for help. Girls surprised, Moro explains plain life needs knowledge, so Aruna will live with Diaz to teach him. She brought a stranger, so his fate's now her responsibility. DS realized this was his first step as a lord, and the start of his life with Aaron. He thought about Memu, horned livestock with thick, fluffy wool, valued for wool, not meat, sheared and traded for supplies. Aruna explained Memus eating local grass grew fur faster. After shearing, villagers traded it for food and supplies. Diaz was shocked, but his casual tone made Aruna snap. Thinking he was mocking her, she scolded him until he swore he was being serious. Diaz realized he had everything to learn, from yurt building to childcare. Aruna might be there against her will, but she still honored the chief's promise and taught him survival skills. With a memorandum proving their trust, Diaz vowed to develop his land and skyrocket the population. He asks Aruna how to get more people, but she scoffs that he wants too much too fast. He noted her dissatisfaction, realizing the local culture lacked accurate population records, leaving the area's population unknown. Aruna warned him growth isn't everything. He needs supplies, as he only has one yurt and food for one. She warned Diaz, gather crowds, give them nothing, and they face hunger, disease, death. She urged him to grasp the danger. Diaz understood her warning too late. He hoped for more village help if he gathered people. Aruna crushed those hopes, warning him not to dream about it. DS admitted his mistake, asking to drop it. He needed housing and supplies, so Aruna called him a foolish lord and tossed him a bag. Diaz asked what was inside. Aruna reveals the bag holds earth matabi, a grass that lures wild animals. Scatter it and they'll swarm. Diaz is shocked, but Aruna's used to his reaction. She explained matabi hunting yields meat, valuable skins, and horns. Trade them in the village for food or a yurt, making hunting crucial for territory development. Diaz liked the idea, enthusiastically saying he's confident hunting since he doesn't have to think much. Aruna warned him, keep wind at his back, use matabi far from the village or animals attack. Diaz found a spot and knew it was time. He hesitated on the matabi amount. Aruna didn't specify, so he dumped the entire bag. Finished, he just waited for the animals to arrive. He wondered how many animals a yurt cost. Maybe one, or maybe 10 yurts, 100 animals. Diaz knew this would take days, then a horde of wild beasts suddenly appeared. Their sudden appearance baffled him, but eliminating them meant instant victory. Diaz was confident. He swung his axe with raw power, trusting pure instinct. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. He learned sword and bow, but found it too complicated. He couldn't read enemy movements or time attacks. Everything confused him, making him feel stupid and struggle. The axe changed everything. Tactics didn't matter anymore. It shattered shields and sliced through armor. No matter the defense, the result was the same. As animals fled, he realized he'd killed half the herd. Easier than expected, they moved predictably. The catch was massive, but he had no way to haul it home. He jumped into the fight without a plan to move the loot. Diaz expected Aruna to again call him a foolish lord, knowing he couldn't withstand her cold gaze. Soon Aruna appeared, impressed. She praised his first hunt, a black buffalo kill, a true man's deed. Diaz was puzzled, unaware of a black buffalo. He hadn't caught all who ran, only killing half. Aruna clarified the true count. Diaz, quickly counting, estimated he destroyed 30 or 40 animals. Aruna admired the impressive kill count, seeing Diaz in a new light, impressed by his humble skill. Aruna swore she was serious, never having met anyone so strong, and told the village boys that Diaz now owned the buffaloes he killed. Moro praised Diaz's strength, calling his 30 buffalo hunt pure courage, but Diaz realized his definition of bravery was nothing like the village's. Moro explained their culture sees masculinity holistically, including diligence, reliability, and resourcefulness, which together define a man's value. Diaz wondered if his bravery won Aruna over. Muru smiled, confirming the village's top beauty naturally wants a hero, even joking she'd take him herself if he were younger. Diaz asked if masculinity made him popular with women. Moro replied village women only cared for masculinity, beauty or eloquence didn't matter. She says looks and sweet talk won't put food on the table. To this tribe, marrying a weak man means the whole family starves. Diaz realized this culture had different norms, then Moro changed the subject. To marry Aruna, Diaz needed a bride price, making him tense. Moro argues Aruna's beauty and hard work demand a high price, so the chief demands DS daily trophies as ransom, catching him completely off guard. Moro confirmed individual alliance conditions. Diaz realized Oni marriage views were very different, but his inner voice warned, no time for family. He needed to prioritize, settle, strengthen his household, and stock supplies. Moro tried to calm him, saying honest can breed with anyone, but Diaz snapped that wasn't the point. Morning, Aruna greeted Diaz, breakfast ready. The food looked surprisingly delicious, making Aruna blush with joy. Diaz loved the food. After eating, Aruna asked about hunting plans. Diaz replied they were set, but warned if more people came, they'd need a well, granary, and waterlifting tools. Model thought input. Aruna explained that they could hire craftsmen, but for that, they needed more goods for trade. Diaz suggested hunting the black buffalo again, but Aruna noted that they were no longer needed. Monsters filled Diaz's head. Born from miasma, dungeons, or ruins, these mad monsters hate life and slaughter everything in their path. Meat and blood are poisonous, but skin, claws, horns, and the demonic core near the heart in Oregon are valuable for daily use. Diaz worried about local monsters, but Aruna confirmed only a few exist, promising to find them with magic and join him for a safe hunt. Diaz warned her hunting was too dangerous. He wanted her to just point the way. Aruna confidently said hunting with her was a simple village walk. Next morning, Diaz greets Francois and Francesca, his male and female memu from the Moro chief. Diaz spotted villagers approaching with supplies for their buffalo trade. He felt awkward, still unshaven and disheveled. Aruna stepped up fully prepared. Diaz nodded, ready for action. All the men froze seeing Aruna. Her new makeup transformed her look, and even a simpleton like Diaz immediately caught on. Aruna left the guys to guard Mimu so she could spend the day alone with Diaz. Seeing the men's reactions, Diaz knew he had to leave, so he rushed the monster hunt to avoid trouble. Diaz remembered that in the northern plains, monster pockets sometimes popped up. Monsters infested the area, but Diaz knew harvesting just a few would fund the warehouse well. Aruna's ready to hunt monsters with magic, proving her power isn't just for chores. Diaz, understanding her mood, let her use magic. Aruna immediately focused on the spell. She found the massive beast alone, its overwhelming presence scaring off everything else. Diaz sensed the threat and scouted ahead, ordering Aaron to hide. Aruna refused to back down, reminding them her camouflage magic could hide or retreat from danger. Diaz recognized her unwavering character. Aruna's safety was his top priority. He finally agreed to go with her. Approaching the noise, Aruna horrifyingly realized what they faced. Diaz thought it was a giant turtle, but Aruna explained it wasn't just a turtle, it was an earth dragon. This monster was lethal, and she had no clue why it was here. Diaz charged into battle, ordering Aruni to hide. She refused, calling him reckless for fighting alone. They could retreat, but if the dragon chased them, it would be a disaster. Diaz wouldn't let the monster catch them. He planned to strike its neck legs, forcing it into its shell, but could his axe pierce its defenses? He struck the rock-hard shell, aimed for the neck, but the beast instantly retreated inside. Diaz didn't expect the monster to reliably cover its weak spot. Arunas begged him to retreat, convinced the dragon was unbeatable alone, but Diaz defied him, refusing to flee without trying everything. He knew Arunas would call him foolish, but he had no choice. If the first strike failed, he'd strike a second time, then a third. He fought until his body gave out, relentlessly hammering the armor. His weapon cracked, Diaz noticed, closed his eyes and mentally commanded, repair. A magical beam swept the weapon, vanishing the cracks. Aruna watched, amazed. Diaz first used this power in the military, taking the axe as a trophy from a fallen enemy because its raw strength and design impressed him. The axe's rare function, it auto-repairs minor damage, or Diaz could mentally reactivate its restoration. Inspired, he demanded round 2. Exhausted and sweating, he refused to quit, but the shell wouldn't break. Twilight became a threat, they had to retreat. He blamed himself for not handling the turtle, though it was strong. Aruno started shivering, alarming Diaz. He struck again and finally succeeded. The armor cracked. Aruna surprisingly saw DS penetrate the monster's armor. The dragon lunged from the shadows, glowing as it attacked. Diaz hit the dirt but instantly sprang up to strike back. Creature again ducked away. Aruna felt the earth dragon's miasma, causing dizziness from afar, but Diaz remained unaffected, baffling her. Diaz pounded the crack, noting the dragon showed no aggression and seemed unharmed. He attacked with wild, chaotic fury. The beast was losing control, and Diaz saw his chance to claim the ultimate prize. Mid-attack, Diaz spots Aruna collapse nearby. Instantly knowing something was wrong, weak and in terrible shape, Diaz raged. He realized the monster wasn't after him. It attacked Aruna, enraging him. Diaz couldn't back down. He promised to protect her. This wasn't just duty, she was his friend. No matter the enemy's strength, he'd stand his ground and fight to the end. He charged into battle, delivering a devastating blow to the monster. His determination peaked, every muscle focused on one goal, protect. He ran to Aruna, leaning over her, anxiously hoping she'd regain consciousness. Weak and trembling, Aruna clung to him and sobbed, her soul crushed by the trauma. Diaz froze, overwhelmed. He whispered her name, confused as Aruna, eyes on his shoulder, shattered his world. She wanted to marry him, her words sincere. Diaz froze in disbelief at the sudden confession, but Aruna doubled down with total confidence. Suddenly, a villager shouted to Diaz and Aruna they'd been gone too long, as more concerned villagers arrived. They arrived to find the earth dragon defeated, shocked that anyone could take it down. Diaz holds Aruna, his mind racing as she clings to him tightly. Her grip, stronger than a dragon's blow, trapped Diaz. He couldn't escape, even trying to calm her with her name failed. Aruna, still clinging, declared she'd marry him. Villagers stood stunned before the massive earth dragon, and once they heard Master Diaz killed it, the news spread like wildfire. Diaz recalled the battle. All village men united to drag the dragon, spending the whole night to haul its body to the settlement center by morning. Maru met them in shock. No one expected one man to slay that beast, especially since Diaz ignored its lethal mist. Diaz saw the monster's body held valuable resources, too pricey for the village. He offered to process the carcass cheap, using the profits to build a well, shed, yurt, and material storage. Moore agreed but kept materials to trade with merchants, securing his lordly influence, while she planned next steps. Mora brought up Aruna's wedding gift, telling Diaz to give her family dragon parts to win their respect. Thought DS tried to backpedal, but Moru smirked, declaring the wedding would happen regardless. Now a dragon-hunting outsider, the village already viewed him with suspicion. Distrust breeds fear, but after Diaz slayed the monster, radiating courage, his refusal to marry Aruna only drew more girls. Proving Moru right, the girl rushed over, hugged Diaz's leg, and looked up with love. Other girls in the village also admired him. Maru explains the girls are holding back because these men only take one wife, and they're sure it's Aruna. Out of options, Diaz proposed a temporary engagement to stall the marriage. Moro said their culture lacked the concept. Aruna already told her parents about the wedding, leaving Diaz to find a date everyone liked. Diaz then realized where Aruna went. Their alliance became official instantly. He loved everything about her. She was beautiful, kind, attentive, sweet, tender, managed the house perfectly, and marriage wasn't so bad after all. At 35, he wanted a family. He asked a local about Aruni's age, and the man calling him Dragon Slayer revealed she's 15 and ready for marriage. Diaz shuddered. He expected her young, but the age difference was too great, like father and daughter. Kingdom law dictates girls marry at 18, meaning 3 years until DS's marriage. He vows to become a worthy lord, fully prepared by then. Knowing a delay would insult Aruna's, Diaz took it seriously to prove his loyalty as a lord and a man. A month since Diaz and Aruna's engagement, they dug a well and built a warehouse, making life easier. One problem remained: his population wouldn't grow. He had plans to fix it but doubted they'd work. Still, he now saw Aruna as family, not just an assistant. He wished new settlers just fell from the sky. He acted carelessly, but felt restless inside. Aruna rushed over, beaming, and announced they were having a baby. Shocked, he made her say it again. She smiled, confirming a baby. They joyfully celebrated the news. Diaz checked his memo, called Frances a good girl, and excitedly noted she's pregnant. He thanked Francois for his efforts, realizing nature did its job. Aruna said memes are geniuses. Even wild ones learn human speech in a week, choosing domestication for food and protection. Aruna warned him it wasn't that simple. Even being smart, memus stay weak and timid while pregnant. To handle their anxiety, they needed their strongest leader. She told Diaz to stay close at night so they'd feel safe. Diaz accepted her words. He understood his job now meant protecting people, land, and all creatures. He embraced this new responsibility, sleeping next to Memo to keep them safe. Aruna insisted they carry the pregnant animal to the yurt. It was tradition, but the men hated the mess and the smell. Memo's constant stare unnerved others, making them unable to relax, but Diaz just laughed it off, unfazed. Francis and Francois were family, and with babies on the way, his own comfort didn't matter. Aruna's heart stirred, his words offering support and care. She saw his rare kindness and courage, filling her with joy. This was her husband. Diaz heard only repetitive noise, but Aruna caught every unique tone and spoke back as if she understood them perfectly. Aruna reacted emotionally, surprised by Francis's supposed words. She insisted things weren't serious with Diaz, shyly telling the animal to stop teasing and stay out of her business. Her horn glowed. Diaz saw the first green shimmer, knowing the barrier reacted to something outside. Aruna reported riders approaching from the kingdom's east, estimating about 10. He realized the green horn meant invasion. An eastern approach could be a delegation or threat, especially bandits. Armed riders meant danger, so he scouted the threat while Arunit used magic to hide the village. Despite the tension, Memo calmed them, promising a quick return. He was confident. 10 enemies were nothing compared to the dragon he'd just defeated. Aruna promised to handle the house, telling Diaz she was counting on him and fueling his determination. He spotted 3 riders and 4 on foot. Aruna said 10, so she must have counted the horses too. Diaz knew they weren't here for peace. Archers meant he'd strike first, prevent losses, but nearing, he heard a familiar voice. A man joyfully called his name. It was Klaus, his old comrade. He'd respected Diaz since the war began, despite his humble roots. Klaus was a brother he trusted with his life. Diaz welcomed Klaus, asking why he was here. Klaus quickly explained he's a guide and guard, guiding nobles with a personal request for Diaz. Diaz tensed. He knew nobles don't come for nothing, wondering who they were and what they wanted. Klaus asked Diaz to take them to his estate, as his group was exhausted from the journey and needed rest. Diaz agreed instantly and offered to lead the way. Klaus laughed, excited for what was coming next. He eagerly imagined Diaz, picturing impressive buildings in a wealthy country. They arrived to a modest yurt, puzzling newcomers who expected grandeur for the man's status. Everything but the training yurt was perfectly hidden. Impressed by the effective camo, Diaz calmly ushered his guests inside. Third Princess Diana introduced herself but stopped short. Expecting a mansion, she only found a tent. She assumed it was under construction, but there wasn't a single worker in sight. But before he could finish, the man next to him, outraged, scolded Diaz for disrespecting the princess, demanding she be called Her Highness. Diana ordered them to back off to stay hidden. Diaz admitted he had no crew or supplies. This yurt was all he had. He built it alone, not grand, and got hurt often. Stunned, Diana asked if he built it alone. She looked for the crew, but Diaz explained no carpenters lived in this wasteland. The princess doubted, knowing Diaz's hero title granted him kingdom capital, territory funds, and other gifts from her father's will. Diaz confessed, despite official word, he got 0 money, aid, or supplies, feeling abandoned like a dog on a desolate road. Standing nearby, Klaus clenched his fist in rage. He knew the truth, and this injustice cut deep. Staying calm, Diaz changed the subject and asked why Diana had come to these lands. Princess reports war reignited in the kingdom. Escalating, she personally asks the hero for help. She sought military aid, offering Diaz herself or one of her companions, Priscilla or Merida, as his wife. Diaz was shocked and irritated. With Francis pregnant, war was impossible, and he found it strange the princess, barely knowing him, discussed marriage like business, especially since he already had someone. Diaz stood firm, stating he was done with war. He couldn't send a single soldier because he lacked an army and resources. Princess Diana tried to keep control, offering Diaz a massive reward to change his mind. Diaz refused to help regardless of the reward and ordered them off his land. An attendant snapped, drawing his sword on Diaz. He roared, calling Diaz audacious and his refusal a direct insult to the queen. Klaus tried to stop him, but he lashed out, accusing Diaz of getting too arrogant after becoming a hero. Diaz didn't tolerate the threat. His axe swung, deflecting the enemy's sword, shattering it. The enemy froze, speechless. Diaz sensed the man's bloodlust but knew it was just a bluff. Standing his ground, he ordered them off his land. Klaus stepped in and agreed, ordering everyone out before things escalated. He warned that if Diaz snapped, it would be a disaster. He argued, but Klaus warned they couldn't beat the hero, and a fight meant utter defeat. Sensing danger, the group fled. Diaz realized he'd trashed the yurt floor and knew Aruna would scold him for having to fix it again. Diana fumed, walking away. He wasn't the hero she'd heard, but a man who publicly humiliated her. Boiling, she called him trash, vowing he'd regret it. Aruna told Diaz what her magic showed. All women glowed red, signaling hostility. One soldier glowed blue, the rest were red or white. She knew someone would cry, and Francis did. Aruna used transformation magic to bring her right to the action. Diaz apologized to Francis for not staying by her side. He patted Aaron's head, thanking her for protecting them, and warned the red glow women were a true threat. Aruna's magic confirmed these people are a threat to her and Diaz, her new family. Diaz knew he was right to kick out the guests. Only one seemed reliable, Klaus, glowing blue. Aruna reminded him the damaged floor needed repair. Diaz sighed, promising to fix it. Next morning, a worried Diaz greeted Francis and Francois. Aruna greeted him good morning. Her horn lit, pinpointing a violator, a lost man in the east, circling. Diaz grew wary of a suspicious stranger, asking Aruna to join him. Aruna's magic would hide them. She refused to see Francis cry again, so they were going together, no matter what he said. They approached and discovered Klaus. He admitted getting lost, unable to find his way back. Diaz realized navigating the endless grassy plain was incredibly difficult. He expected Klaus to be at the kingdom with the princess, but seeing him here unarmed was a total shock. Klaus laughed, explaining he was expelled and stripped of his gear. Diaz felt guilty, but Klaus insisted the choice was his alone. He dreaded the front. War escalated daily. Klaus seized the chance to find a friend and start anew, pursuing a specific goal. Diaz asked his goal, and a nervous Klaus begged to join his army. He remembered fighting side by side, trusting each other, no one closer. He wanted that ally back, but hesitated. Aruna, sensing his thoughts, assured Klaus was safe, radiating blue light of good intentions. Klaus finally saw her, stunned by Aruna and Memo's presence, utterly speechless. Diaz smiled, calling it a long story, but he finally gained his first subject, Klaus. The Nitro report: Lord Diaz leads Aruna, Memu duo Francis and Francois, and ex-soldier Klaus, while their base now features yurts, storage, a livestock pen, a warehouse. Klaus relived that moment, shouting, begging the commander to stop, unable to grasp leaving women and children behind. He never believed the captain would retreat. The commander interrupted, claiming it was a temporary maneuver for reinforcements, not a retreat. Klaus rejected that answer. He knew if they left, no one would protect those remaining. He heard the cold phrase, their fate was with the gods. He tried to stop the captain, but he'd already left them a heavy choice. Diaz watched them finish New York for Klaus. Klaus didn't mind the ruins, but Diaz refused to let his friend live there, so he built him a sturdy new home. Aruna calls everyone for dinner. A black buffalo stood on the table as Diaz thanked her, urging Klaus to dig in. Klaus tasted the dish, delighted, saying it would suit a feudal lord. He called Aruna the perfect wife, but she shyly brushed it off and pointed to the massive feast. At dinner, Diaz asked Aruna if dragon parts could craft cloud armor and weapons. Aruna confirmed Petro, the village craftsman, already started. Dragon parts are never wasted. Fang's claws become sword spears, tendons make bowstrings, scales form shields, but Diaz saw village trades often lost more than they gained. He used them instantly. Seeing Klaus distracted, he named the dragon parts, making Klaus freeze in shock. Stunned by the trophies, Klaus asked if he really slayed the beast. Diaz confirmed it was an earth dragon, a massive turtle-like beast, no wings or fire but still deadly. Diaz shattered its shell and killed it. Klaus was stunned. It usually takes an entire army to kill one, but Diaz did it solo. He felt unworthy of the valuable materials, but Diaz assured him it was conscious. He wanted Klaus to captain his future army, and idle dragon parts would be wasted. Klaus eagerly accepted, swearing his life to Diaz, his land, and people with fierce determination and respect for Diaz and Aruna. Diaz saw he didn't need to say, "Your Majesty," but Klaus refused, insisting on respect for the ruler and his companion. Diaz smiled. His new ally was clearly fired up. 10 days pass. Klaus trains relentlessly, now wielding a spear and armor forged from dragon parts. Not even the king could afford these items, all thanks to Diaz's total trust in Klaus. Klaus trained to justify their trust, while the capital spiraled into political schemes. Nobles chose sides for the throne, as provincial lords ran wild, ignoring the distant capital. Heading to Diaz's land, Klaus saw Kazdex's cruelty and suspected the greedy second prince stole Diaz's reward. Princess Diana had political power but no military strength. She likely charmed Diaz for his backing. Klaus came because this could shatter all lands. He knew renewed war meant his death, but he'd die with honor for Diaz. Klaus Diaz stepped outside and knew something was wrong. Aruna sensed magic, 12 people closing in from the east. One was in critical condition. Diaz rushed to help, and Klaus joined him to face the strangers. Diaz stopped him, demanding Klaus stay and protect Aruna and Memo. If danger struck, Aruna would retreat with their fluffy companions. Klaus must shield them. Klaus nodded, taking responsibility, then watched Aruna use concealment magic, amazed as they dissolved into air, her power always astonishing him. Diaz and Aruna returned unexpectedly early, with elderly women abandoned by the village. They exiled the women to save food, as the uprising left the village starving and chaotic. Kazak's second son turned on his father to seize power, while neighboring lands spiraled into chaos. Elderly leader Maya used her visions to guide the exiles on a long journey to the lands of Diaz. Diaz was thrilled. He told Klaus he'd gained 12 subjects in a day. Klaus, expecting this, wasn't surprised. He knew Diaz now controlled their fate. Expelled, they belonged to no one. But he knew elderly women wouldn't significantly develop the territory. Diaz admired the settlers, stunned that everyone was over 70 and Maya was 90, and craved their secrets for a long life. Klaus reminded him elderly women die any moment, that's why they were expelled, but enthusiastic Diaz already planned more yurts, and a desperate Klaus wondered if anyone heard him. Klaus remembered years ago, enemies surrounded his camp. As the village faced capture, he yelled for soldiers to hold the camp. Bound by duty, he stayed to protect them, facing certain death. Diaz appeared and rushed to Klaus, relieved he was alive. With everyone fleeing, Diaz thought he was abandoned until Klaus asked where he'd been. Diaz heard a baby cry. He followed the sound, finding a boy. He handed the child to residents in the basement. Crying, the boy begged him not to leave, afraid. Diaz promised, don't be afraid. He'd stay, protect everyone. The battle erupts. Diaz yells for Klaus to survive, and Klaus swears he will, but the rest is a total blur. Back against the shelter beside Diaz, he swung his blade with his last strength, fighting endless enemies to hold the line. He wasn't the best warrior, but his presence made Diaz deadlier, their top strategy. Backup arrived the next day, but the enemy had already fled. Diaz stayed exactly the same. Success didn't change him. He stayed good, honest, and straightforward. Ashamed, Klaus wanted to die to prove devotion, yet knew he had to live. He wanted to stay close. Assad was now a true lord, so she stayed by his side. Diaz set up the yurt. Klaus ran to help. He asked not to rush, ready to work, but grabbing the structure, he misjudged strength, nearly damaging it. Days after elderly women settled, Aruna's magic confirmed their blue souls held no evil. Their arrival swelled the village. Time to name it. Aruna suggested Iluk, meaning first village, but gently rejected Klaus's bolder proposal, village of dragon slayers. Diaz's first village was born, and the residents threw a simple party that warmed every heart. Diaz felt joy seeing his subjects' smiles, knowing he must work to bring them more happiness. Later, Aruna approached for a serious talk about population growth. She reminded them to decide how to attract settlers. Diaz recalled their recent discussion, many ideas, but nothing worked. He scrapped his last idea. Grandma Maya's plan was faster, but Diaz sensed something was wrong. Grandma Maya suddenly appeared, hearing his silent call. Her intuition and insane power stunned him. Maya revisited yesterday's talk, suggesting they sell dragon materials to buy slaves and quickly boost population. The proposal hit Diaz hard, flashing back to the war's abandoned, tortured, and broken slave soldiers. He knew slavery was sheer brutality, not just a system. Aruna suggested treating the slaves well, but Diaz refused. Buying them makes him an accomplice, fueling the market to hunt more victims. He declared slavery banned on his land. Maya, relieved, confessed she'd deliberately tested him. Diaz was glad she didn't back the idea, avoiding the need to oppose it. She'd heard terrible stories about Duke Kazdex's slaves and feared a repeat. Diaz vowed this wouldn't happen in his land. No one here is a product to be sold or broken. He's banning slavery forever. Aruna watched him closely, noticing he was lost in thought. Klaus burst in, breathless, apologized for interrupting, saw Diaz and Aruna in the dark, then spotted Maya, utterly bewildered. He tried to bolt, stammering he saw nothing. Next morning, Aruna had news. A merchant approached. Diaz reacted fast, knowing merchants bring goods and news. Merchants bring news, supplies, and settlers to grow the village. Prepping for the meeting, Klaus wondered who this mysterious traveler was. Diaz stared at a creature he'd never seen, a frog merchant who carried himself with pure dignity. Pagan the merchant greeted Diaz as a legendary dragon hunter, offering a deal. Aruna revealed he's from a rare frog race, leaving Diaz stunned. He knew a diver. Pigeon demanded the earth dragon's materials, wanting to assess them since Diaz killed the monster himself. Then Rig Aruna's lit up, signaling a magical soul check. Pigeon's white soul proved he wasn't a threat, so despite his greed, Diaz struck a deal. He brought Earth Dragon Shell. Padhin gasped at its sheer size and density. He expected a smaller dragon, and doubted Diaz really killed it alone. Diaz got it. The merchant figured he just found a dead dragon and claimed it. To prove it, he sent Klaus for heavy armor and grabbed the axe. Returning, he proved one powerful blow could split the show. Klaus happily called it a dragon-slaying blow. Diaz sighed. Klaus always had terrible names, but it worked. Pigeon was convinced. Merchant instantly hooked, ready to buy the shelf parts even if it cost all his resources, promising a fair market price. He couldn't sell two girls to monsters, so he offered them to Diaz as a fellow human. Diaz instantly connected with the girls' lifeless, empty eyes, wondering if they were orphans like him. Shocked they were sold as goods, he realized Beijing treated kids like slaves. Aruna's hand met his, urging calm. Diaz stared at her, emotions barely contained. Grandma stepped in, warning his scary face would spook the girls. She told him to wash up and made it clear, this village doesn't buy slaves. Hadjin immediately justified himself. Everyone misunderstood him. He doesn't trade slaves. He only took the girls as goods because they were twins, a village curse, and would have died. Tradition demanded twins be killed at birth, so their parents fled to the forest and fell ill. Dying, they begged Page to take the girls, but he refused, snapping that he wasn't a charity worker. The parents begged with their last coins, and he couldn't refuse, vowing to find the girls' safety. He traveled with them, but supplies ran low, and the girls' curse meant no shelter. He said despite the losses, he took care of them and hoped to find someone to take them in. Aruna's magic confirmed his words. The horn shone, proving Peijan spoke truth. Girls' souls shone bright blue, a sign of kindness and purity. Diaz sighed, deciding he'd take the girls under his care. Diaz paid in dragon parts, promising to care for them as family. Pagan loved the deal and agreed instantly. Buying kids sickened him, but they had nowhere to go. This wasn't a purchase, it was a rescue. The twins were now family. Pagan left Nitro's beaming, calling Master Diaz his best customer ever. He'd sold everything and was thrilled, knowing nothing beats an honest, simple-minded buyer. Talking to the Great Bear, Pagan revealed his true intentions. The bear feared Diaz would threaten the king of beasts, but Pagan calmly said Diaz was content with his plain village, no danger, yet Diaz had no idea what awaited him. If Diaz expands, he'll hit the northern mountains. They're crawling with monsters but packed with rich resources and massive potential. If Diaz seizes them or the Beast King takes them first, trade routes and profits explode, and Pagan, the official trader, gets his share. After the Pagan deal, things ran smoothly. New orders and announcements drew settlers to the feudal land, but Diaz still had the new girls to deal with. Lifting them, he saw they were thin as 3-year-olds. He promised they'd never go hungry again, eating Aruna's cooking together. He introduced himself and asked their names. I asked about their favorite games, but Aruna jumped in, suggesting they cook their favorite dishes instead. Diaz asked if they liked stories or songs, then what to call them. DS figured if parents loved their daughters enough to flee the village, then the girls cherished them, making their given names vital and deserving respect. Since they were nameless, Diaz used his hidden naming skills to find something soft and sweet for the girls. The girls sharply protested, refusing new names. Surprised, Diaz demanded their names. He asked for their names and they replied, Sine and Icon. Diaz thanked them for the great names and memorized them instantly. Warmth filled his heart, knowing trauma makes war orphans shut down. Their pasts usually ended tragically, but parent memories helped the girls open up. He and Klaus handled the goods, while Aruna and Maya helped the girls change and prep food. Aruna smiled, beckoning the girls. Maya promised steamed potatoes. Klaus was surprised Diaz connected with the kids. Diaz sadly admitted he'd fostered orphans, even a baby, before the war. When war broke out, Klaus left the kids with his assistant, hoping they were safe and certain they'd find him one day. Work finished, Diaz moved the goods to storage and immediately started sweet-talking the girls again. Aruna stopped him, sternly telling him to wash up first. Diaz agreed and quickly got ready. Aruna braided Icon's hair, saying the girls would do it themselves when they grew up. Maya saw the inhuman girls as a good omen and vowed to protect them, while the village elders instantly adored them. Diaz loved the new clothes on Sina and Icon. Sina called them beautiful. Icon agreed. Diaz smiled, confirming their beauty, feeling calm as the girls finally opened up. Aruna names them Sranai, ancient for beautiful moon, and Icon, meaning sacred moon. Their moon names were no accident. Aruna gave each girl a Nodi gemstone, legendary stones, holding the moon's power they must guard. Akin trembled her name, Sacred Moon, Senai savored hers, beautiful as the moon. Tears streamed down both faces. Suddenly, memories flooded back. They heard their parents' warm voices, telling them they were loved and their happiness was everything. Their only wish, for Sign and A to live happily. Diaz and Aruna stepped in, tightly embracing the girls, sharing their tears, pain, and memories. Two fluffy, emotion-sensitive memes gently approached, stopping beside them, eyes soft, ears lowered in sympathy. Diaz saw they wanted to help. Aruna realized they were just comforting the girls. These creatures sense children. Aruna named the village in an ancient tongue he thought only one tribe spoke. He suggested Senai and Ikena's parents had ancient ties, but Aruna pondered, unsure, since the old language only lived in legends. She didn't know if outsiders knew this language. She claims the ones weren't ordinary, maybe their lineage merged with the ones long ago. 10 days later, Diaz noticed Sign and Ijin still mourning their parents. Despite the pain, they began healing souls, their smiles lighting up the village. Kids' laughter filled the streets, and the locals loved them like family, until Aruna spotted a mysterious rider approaching from the east. His speed showed he'd be close soon. Diaz spotted him from the east, calling everyone to greet their guest. He invited Aruna, Francis, and Francois, but the boys stayed behind. They felt uneasy leaving Diaz and wanted to stay near Sinai and Akina. Diaz knows they'll return, counting on their support. Seni and Akin approached Diaz with sincere expressions. Senai urged him home quickly. Akin promised to wait, and Diaz confidently vowed his return. Aruna hid with magic, sensing a white soul and zero hostile intent. The stranger bowed and apologized for the surprise visit, calling him Diaz Samas, but a stunned Diaz demanded to know who he was. Camelot arrived, a Duke Kazdek's rep, stating Lord Eldon Kazdex wants to meet Lord Diaz and is coming. He offered to join his master at Diaz's. Diaz opted to meet in the village. Camelot promised to relay the news to his master. Diaz recognized Eldon Kazdex as the man who could spark a civil war and swore to keep him out of Iluk village. Spotting the carriage, Aruna, surprised, asked what it was. The big man has a bright blue soul, and while the others are mixed, none are red. Diaz asked about the man's blue soul. Aruna claimed it was the strongest she'd ever seen, rivaling only Diaz himself. A new man, Eldon, approached Diaz, apologizing with regret and admiring him, inspired by his stories. He wants to meet face-to-face to show his respect, swearing he won't cause any trouble. DS denied being crazy, then apologized for his rudeness to Eldon's representative. Eldon amicably replied no need for formalities, glad just to have met. He spotted a hidden girl, stunned by her stealth. She smelled just like Diaz. Her name was Aruna, and they were engaged. Aruna cut in, claiming she was his wife. Diaz confirmed it, so Eldon asked if she was Najin. Aruna explained she's Oni, her people born with horns. She'd never heard Ajin and didn't know what it meant, so Eldon clarified. Ajins are human-like creatures, not humans. Aruna agreed if classified this way, it's called an application. Eldon burst into tears and hugged Diaz, asking if he had a kid with Aruna. Frightened, Diaz told him to calm down, they had no kids yet. Suddenly, Aruna wanted 10 children. Surprised, Diaz called her name. Aruna added Diaz already took 2 orphans who were probably agents. Yeldon spots Diaz's Jinn family and calls him a kindred spirit. He revealed his true self, leaving Diaz stunned that he was the source. Wait, the prompt says Alden was the source. Okay, he revealed his true identity, leaving Diaz stunned that. Yeldon recalls how hero stories spread to inspire fighters and volunteers for the capital, but became mere shows, losing sincerity. The speech introduced Diaz, a hero who honored his parents by protecting the weak and crushing tyrants with his bare fists. The legend exploded in popularity, but Eldon revealed nobles hated the shows. They quickly banned them, sparking outrage. Still, story tablets kept circulating, reaching distant Kazdeks cut off from the capital. The story was fabricated, omitting true battlefield nobility, so Eldon, disbelieving it, sought those who met Diaz. Veterans, merchants, and tutors all praised Diaz, leaving Eldon completely fascinated. Tomlot warned him to stay calm, but Diaz knew Eldon lugging him like a heavy chest had already wrecked his body. He saw their group made huge efforts to find him. Noticing fatigue, Diaz asked if Eldon could still move. Kamot revealed Eldon was a half-weight, a human Aegean hybrid who rarely transforms into a true Aegean. Eldon is an elephantine, a super-strong giant with a gentle soul. Diaz remembers his father was Lord Angus and his mother was Neha, an elephantine slave. Diaz noticed Eldon's body changes drain his life force. He once thought Eldon transformed from joy, but now understood its physiological cost, the semi-gene vital for Eldon's personality, yet fueling his dual nature. Camelot explained Eldon was small for an elephant, but massive for a human, kept alive only by his wife's constant care. Dias remembered Camelot and saw Castixu's insane hate for Agin, an injustice that shattered Eldon's heart. Dreaming of a world of racial harmony, Eldon secretly used his high position to protect Agins. Dias realized Eldon's Playboy rumors were just a cover for his true motives, as Aruna finally spoke her mind. She wondered why Incas spared Eldon, their own child, unlike other Asians, when they enslaved everyone, even half-breed slave children Edgins, and Camelot confirmed Eldon was meant for slavery like. Incus had a wife, Yania, and a son, Yanni. The boy inherited his father's rough, ugly looks, causing him constant suffering. The Incas were cruel to him, but when Eldon was born, the feudal lord claimed him as his son for political advantage. Dias found the story disgusting. The father hated the son who looked like him, favoring the child who didn't. His inability to love made him terrifying. Eldon's Aegean identity was hidden. His mother Neha posed as a servant, but at 5 his body changed, his ears and nose revealing his true race. He realized Neha was his mother. From then on, their relationship strengthened, forging a true bond. Eldon's mission was to restore the bond between mother and child. Dias heard rumors of civil war, but refused to believe it would become a real crisis. Camelot calmly explained there was no general crisis. Eldon Sama just protected his loved ones. Janir exposed Eldon's plan, and a furious Incus ordered the slaughter of Eldon, Samu, Neha, and every Agin, forcing Eldon to fight back. After Eldon crushed Incus's army, Dias watched as he ignored the law and declared himself the new lord of Castex. Actually, let's make it punchier, Dias saw Eldon apologized to Dias for his past actions, revealing Dias married a woman he just met in Agin, making their children Aginese. Eldon insists Aruna and her kids will be happy, admitting he was wrong to think she shared his dream. Dias backs Eldon's dream, adding his village already lived peacefully with the Djinns. He hoped it would spread elsewhere, promising Eldon full support and cooperation. Dias praised Eldon's noble dream and told him to hold his head high. He praised his bravery, and hearing those words, Eldon burst into tears. Dias heard them discuss many things, like food supplies in their lands. Eldon warned Dias, boost food supplies, the growing village will run out. He warned that winter was coming, and late prep meant disaster. DS realized these weren't just words from a friend, but a true lord. He took action, suggesting 1 or 2 ideal fields for sowing. Dias recalled his pre-war fieldwork and promised to show his skill. Dias and Aruna head home. Sani and Akin burst into tears when they returned, reminding them they'd promised to be back fast. Dias knew he was late, but any explanation would sound like an excuse. That night, Aruna sighed as the kids finally slept. Their wild energy and anger shocked her, but seeing their peaceful faces made her smile. Dias watched children run all day and realized his peaceful village was just an illusion. Akin cried, complaining Senai ate her potato. Senai cried, claiming Akin wouldn't forgive her. Akin snapped it was the last time. Sine argued she'd apologized, and Dias offered his share to keep the peace, but Akin refused his potatoes. Aruna offered her share to stop the fight, showing Dias their rivalry was way too intense. He remembered that night's crying. Next morning, Aruna found them both feverish. Tenny mumbled in sleep, asking if someone called Mom. Dias knew he and Aruna would care for the girls through hard times, and after their ordeal, Senai and Ikin's bond improved, smiles returning. Aruna hesitated, then suggested they read them at least once. Dias refused to break their promise, choosing apologies over scolding so the new kids could freely explore. Dias accepts this for now, but warns it's a bad habit. Tomorrow, he's raising the girls much more strictly. Aruna's horn ignited. Aruna senses the intrusion, reporting a massive group closing in from the southeast. He asked if these were Eldon's people. Aruna confidently replied Eldon went home, heading the other way, adding dark groups appear now, likely thieves or bandits. Ready for a night out, Aruna refused Dias's plea to guard the house, insisting on joining him because it was a new moon and without her magic, they couldn't spot enemies in the grass. She told Cloud to guard the house. Dias agreed, heading out with her and trusting her power. Dias knew rich Oni owned Memu herds, letting them live off passive income without lifting a finger. Only the poor hunted, desperate for money. Men paid a bride price before marriage. Hunting bandits offered quick wealth, but bandits rarely appeared. Dias found it suspicious. Lingering in empty grasslands meant a hidden intention. Walking the steppe, a man realized the land was dead, complaining there wasn't even a tree in sight. Client angrily cut them off, demanding they stop chatting and work, reminding them he paid a fortune. The man justified himself, ready to prove it, but wondered why they had to act at night. Hero Diaz is a monster even in broad daylight, so they'll strike at night. If he spots them, it's game over. He ordered them to kill Eldan on sight before he meets Diaz in the meadows. When asked about Eldan's reward, the contractor offered 100 silver for his head, 10 gold for Diaz. Hyped up, the man told his crew this was their biggest score yet. It's one guy against them all, so finish him fast and get paid. The man spotted a red flash. Panicked, he screamed, "Arrows, Lyle's dead." Their ambush blown, enemy archers struck from elsewhere. He ditched the torches to avoid arrows and ordered his men to fire at the red light. Panic set in as the glow suddenly vanished. Panic set in as he couldn't see the attacks coming. He admired their skill. They could find him even in pitch black. Horror struck him. They'd underestimated the enemy. He'd thought it easy, but now knew they faced the impossible. Despite this, he ordered his men to return fire. He demanded accuracy. They faced one enemy. Pinpoint his location and they'd win. He shouted to be pulled from cover. A voice cried from the darkness, asking if the others were safe. The man realized it was coming from right ahead. He ordered them to surround the enemy, vowing to kill him, while a man despaired, wondering how all comrades died simultaneously. Suspecting more enemies, he ordered his squad to stay alert for threats beyond the archer. Even with the numbers, he ordered a defensive stance. Suddenly, a green flash erupted, and he scrambled to understand it. Fearing a demon, the man shouted for it to show itself, calling it a monster, when Diaz attacked. Before the blow landed, he saw a blue-eyed warrior in heavy armor with a massive axe, a monster worth 100 gold coins. The client panicked, fleeing and screaming, a trembling, angry, fearful mess whose tangled words cursed everyone. "Your people died too fast, worthless trash." The client knew being noticed meant the end. Madness took him. Screaming, he blamed Diaz, insisting old wounds burned because of him. He hated the hero for blocking his path, not for doing nothing. He blamed the orphans, cursed Diaz's mercy, and swore to kill the man he couldn't understand. Diaz almost signaled the torches, but the enemy's reckless chaos ended the fight for him. An enemy arrow nicked Aruna's face, enraging Diaz, but they escaped serious injury. Only bandits suffered, many killed, others wounded. An enemy escaped, but Diaz didn't pursue. He disarmed the bandits, lectured them on their foolish behavior, then expelled them from the plains. Aruna's, dissatisfied, called deportation too lenient, but Diaz justified it with no victims, vowing no mercy if they attacked again. Aruna realized hunting bandits meant serious cash, since she could claim the elders' reward and sell their iron weapons for profit. Diaz doubted junk weapons had value, but Aruna revealed iron is precious on the plains, recycled for tools and war. Growing up poor, she always dreamed of hunting bandits. Before meeting Diaz, Aruna patrolled and hunted for a living. Bandit hunting offered the quickest escape from poverty, but few roamed these plains, making a big catch just a dream. Aruna sensed Diaz approaching. Her heart raced at the sound of a carriage, thinking the bandits had finally arrived. Aruna saw Diaz, knew he wasn't a criminal. She sensed his presence, figuring he was a refugee from a crash or dying alone. Next morning on patrol, Aruna checked on him and froze seeing him sleeping peacefully on the ground. She'd check his soul, knowing a blue one meant great loss, but if he was a bandit, she'd kill him instantly for his gear. Aruna meant to kill Diaz, but woke him up to talk instead, unable to explain why she spared him. She knew they had to talk. No logic explained it, but her choice was made the moment she acted. With Diaz, she felt no mistake, but despite their misunderstandings, she still questioned why she wanted him. Diaz couldn't grasp her words, and when Aruna kissed his cheek, he froze. He yelled her name, told her to wait, and sprinted to catch up. He'd chase her through the darkest night, knowing she was the light he needed to keep going. Aruna, Klaus, and the chiefs joined Maya's elders in the settlement, surrounded by yurts, a warehouse, and a central square. Eldon warned, "It's not just population, the village needs more food. Running out of supplies would be a disaster. Winter looks distant, but it's closing in fast, and Eldon warned they must start preparing immediately." Diaz knew the words were true. He had to prevent it. If the village starved, Aruna, the children, and Francis and Francois would suffer most. He couldn't bear that thought. He vowed to hunt buffalo, but Eldon warned, meat alone won't do, an unbalanced diet harms health. They needed greens to match the meat, so Diaz suggested planting fields and garden beds. Eldon clarifies the soil is too heavy, only grass grows there, and every farmer who tried has failed. Diaz declared you can't know the outcome without trying. Eldon smiled, seeing Diaz took a risk. He respected this trait, promising to help him succeed. Diaz thanked him, vowing to make it happen. He woke up and sat up, wondering if it was all a dream. Morning arrived. He greeted Aruna. She calmly returned the greeting. Grandmothers whispered, surprised by Aruna's good spirits, some joking her last night was special. The clown approached Diaz and showed him a small bat found on morning patrol. He believes the creature flew in a flock, was attacked, shot down. The rest fled, abandoning it. DS inspected the mouse, realizing it was a new species. Clouds hadn't seen it either, so DS warned him to be careful, and Clouds agreed. Diaz saw a clear, cloudless morning, so they ate breakfast under the open blue sky, where he peppered attendees with questions. He checked for any pain, but nobody complained. Maya and the grandmothers already looked way healthier. Aruna's medicinal herbs made it all possible. Daily healing meals and baths restored them, and even Diaz felt his strength returning. Kajin burned through medicine way faster than Aruk, so he asked Aruna where she got her massive supply. She said they mostly grow their own herbs, harvesting or buying the rest. Diaz was shocked. He never knew Kajin had a herb field. Aruna explained their nomadic group lacks a permanent field, growing herbs in portable pots. Diaz decided to plow the land and grow food to keep the villagers safe. He asked Aruna to teach him medicinal herbs for a new plot, but she didn't know the technique, advising him to ask the matriarch for the nuances. At the Kaijin matriarch's home, Moru called plowing impossible since nobody knew why the land stayed barren. Her ancestors once used special gear to farm this land, but the war destroyed it all. Moro assured Diaz teaching herbs isn't hard for her. Some find it tough, but Diaz can try. Training was useless. She just had to crush fertilizer stones and animal bones together. Thoroughly mix the mixture with soil, let it sit, only then plant seeds or medicinal roots. Skip this, and herbs will grow poorly or not sprout. Diaz watched the clan member smash the valuable stone into soil, realizing cultural differences would make getting help tough. Moro warns growing food is a miracle. Constant plowing and sowing lead to nothing. Even potatoes and soybeans sprout, then instantly wither. Forest dwellers know this best. Diaz asked about the forest dwellers. Moro explained these remote tribes were master farmers. Rumors claim they turn barren land green with a wave, but she's never met them. She said if Diaz mastered cultivation, others could learn, and she wanted a cultivation field for everyone. Diaz promised to help, eager to share his knowledge and teach everyone to grow mountains of potatoes. Moro saw Diaz in the blue glow, claiming even his future children with Aaron are waiting for his victory. She joked they'd need herbs for kids. Diaz blushed, but Moro insisted he had asterisk to tell Aruni. Diaz returned home early. I greeted him, and he said he was back. The girls rushed him, demanding to see what he brought. Dees showed them stones, asking if they liked them. Sane looked confused. Aiken, uninterested, called them boring. Senai kicked the pebbles, I counted them, and we both raced off to play. Aruna greeted Diaz, asking about his stones. Puzzled, Diaz said they were beautiful. Aruna instantly realized the stones weren't magical. Real magic stones pulse with energy, letting mages spot fakes instantly, and Diaz admitted these stones felt completely dead. He asked if Iken and Sina had magic. Aruna replied they're intelligent for their age, already mastering it, and with hard work could become powerful wizards, even surpassing the matriarch. Diaz saw their hidden talent and knew they were destined to become the world's greatest wizards. Suddenly, Sina saw something approaching and warned everyone. Soon, Diaz spotted a massive bat swarm, ordering everyone into the tent. Klaus reacted fast. He figured it was the morning pack back for revenge. Small but numerous, they posed a danger. Spear and axe fighting was useless here. Diaz fought, destroying several mice in a few blows. Klaus realized Diaz was doing far better than him. They both clash. A massive bat emerged, and Diaz knew it was the pack leader. Aruna cheered him on, using magic to weaken the leader. He decapitated the leader with one strike. Aruna explains blind bats have sensitive hearing, and a sweet voice dazes them. They're so tiny even kids can take them down. Diaz thanked Aruna for saving him, her enchanting voice a surprise. She shyly admitted she couldn't resist the rare, large flock. Diaz asked the monster's name, but barely heard over his ringing ears. Aruna whispered in his ear. Diaz couldn't hear, tried to ask, but she gave no answer. Klaus caught Crossfire and blacked out. Diaz beamed, finally finishing what he started. 5 days since Mori's magic stone, he'd diligently ground it down, finally finishing the work. Now he could start his long-planned project, cultivating the field of dreams he shared with Aruna. First, he'd divide the field into plots, then till the soil. Aruna senses someone approaching from the west. Her horn flared, sensing people, horses, and a bizarre creature that was neither human nor animal. Diaz tried going alone, but Aruna insisted on joining, sensing a mysterious beast among the approaching crowd. Aruna kept DS calm and safe, but she nervously warned that someone was closing in. Diaz grabbed the monocle, excitedly spotting Camelot in Eldon's servant caravan. Aruna scolded him for shouting names, but Diaz spotted movement behind Camelot. Strange white creatures appeared, and Aruna's monocle revealed they were hauling a supply cart. Guards surrounded the cart, its heavy cargo confirming her strange feeling. Diaz, confused by the Black Bulls people called White, decided to just call them Black. Aruna points to the second cart, spots shadows moving inside, watching them. She suspects spies. Diaz wants to approach Camelot to find out what's in the cart. Inside the car, the animals swapped stories. One recalled escaping slave traders by jumping into a desert-bound transport out of pure fear. He still hoped to return home, while the animals grabbed beans for the journey ahead. One indignantly asked why she shared food. She replied they had extra weight and could spare some, but another warned supplies run out on long journeys, risking them all. Debating food in the cart's path, one animal revealed it was heading west, not south as promised. Her words sparked outrage. Many realized they'd been deceived, the route completely off-plan. They suspected the trip wasn't for the desert, but a vital mission tied to the Dragon Slayer. Defeating him would prove their strength and dignity. The animals clash when one admits he only helped to reach the desert, feeling betrayed that their real target is a dragon hunter. Beasts claimed the Slayer was stronger than the dragon, and fighting him was suicide. Others ignored the doubt, calling everyone liars who deserved punishment. They claimed to be superior, even better than the Dragon Slayer. They vowed to humiliate enemies, return to the desert with provisions and glory, fully dedicating themselves. Camelot halted the carts, greeted Diaz and Aaron, and delivered exactly what Eldon promised. Seeing Diaz, the beasts, shocked, recognized the dragon killer and roared. Diaz saw Camelot return and politely, but directly, said he had an important question. Panic erupted as the animals realized they were outmatched. Then Diaz spotted something suspicious inside the cart. The beast leaped from the cart to kill a defenseless Diaz, who was shocked these mouse creatures could talk. Crucially, Aruna swiftly repelled the attackers, then chided Diaz for his carelessness. He calmly asked if she handled them easily, but Aruna suggested the approaching beings were Camelot friends, not targets. The mice instantly denied befriending the stranger, feared the frightening woman, then accused them of mocking desert dwellers and angrily called them scoundrels. Diaz boldly declared Aruna's the most beautiful girl in the world and vowed no one would hurt her. Camelot arrived in a rage, demanding answers. Furious that anyone protected the beasts, he ordered his men to hunt down every last mouse. Trapped in the bag, the mice screamed for backup and cursed human betrayal. They blamed Diaz for everything, calling him a dragon slayer, while Kamla bowed and apologized for the trouble. He offered a formal apology, but Diaz waved it off. Camelot insisted, arguing that as Eldanu's leader, he had to answer for his people's mistakes. Camelot declared his duty was for his charges. Diaz asked who these subjects were, small creatures Camelot saw as mere animals. Diaz then realized this related to Judgeon. He finally understood the truth. From humanoids to full beasts, any race with speech and culture is a Judgeon, making them equal to the Ajins. Diaz finally understood, recalling his parents' myth. God gave speech only to humans, so talking mice must be human. Clearly, these primitive creatures were called mice with racing ears by Camelot. They called themselves desert dwellers, but other races lived there too. Diaz was stunned. He'd never heard of deserts in Eldon. Camelot explained the desert homeland stretched from the southern tower to a far southern belt the mice called home. Diaz suspected slave hunters were lurking nearby. He remembered Eldon's promise to let the desert people return home once they were independent, a vow that fueled their fierce resistance. Despite criticism and rebellion, Eldon treated them like family, sincerely supporting them. Camelot confirmed Eldon's rule gave Judgeon's hope for returning to the desert. Aruna forgives Camelot's blue tint, though it was white, but the mice are bright red. If they return, she won't hold back. He'd already told Camelot, stop apologizing. Your feelings are enough, but if you insist, he'll take the apology. He admitted mice was a problem and vowed no more mercy. He warned Camelot to stay sharp and ordered the culprits punished. Camelot thanked Diaz, promising he understood. A guard dog reported the survey was done, but the mouse scent was everywhere, making them impossible to find. Heavy spices made searching difficult, so Camelot checked the cart himself. Diaz knew he looked but found nothing. Test complete, mice returned to Eldon for questioning about the attack. Investigation mattered more than punishment. Diaz remembered guards mentioning spices. Expecting farm tools, Camelot handed him a letter and apologized for the mouse chaos. The tools were delayed by the spice trade, so he urged him to read the letter for the full story. Eldon Kaz's warm letter to Diaz discussed the tools they'd talked about, emphasizing they'd give him everything. Yeldon said this should be enough, promising more if not, and included their specialty spices with the tools, hoping Dias and his crew would enjoy them. The letter confirms the carts and horses now belong to Dias. Eldon hopes for free trade and open talk, calling their last meeting truly inspiring. Eldon anticipated their next meeting, while Dias silently thanked him for his generosity. The letter called everything a gift, no payment. Eldon stressed it's a sign of friendship, urging them to accept. Eldon regretted Dias had no barn, or he'd give him horses and cattle, so they prepped building materials. The stable surprised Dias. Kemlock calmly told him not to worry, his team would handle construction. Dias realized he couldn't just repay Eldon for these gifts. He decided to give the Earth Dragons raw materials, a worthy. Camelot gave Dias and his crew a cart, declaring it theirs for the journey. It's the perfect chance to learn carriage, driving with an expert coachman, helping you master it fast. Overwhelmed, Aruna asked if they really had horses, and Dias pointed to the 4 nearby to confirm it. Aruna cheered they now have 4 horses, her heart never been happier. Dias wondered what horses meant to people. He knew horses were vital for war and survival, speed was priceless, and a massive herd signaled ultimate wealth. Aruna's family handled horses but lacked wealth, so relatives rented them, and Dias sensed Aruna missed her family, her heart heavy with emotion. Aruna confessed her childhood dream of a horse family, always saw Dias as brave, waited for their own horses, and couldn't believe her dream came true so fast. Dias couldn't get a word in before Aruna shouted her thanks and called him husband. She took charge of the horses and carts, loudly declaring that all the work was now her responsibility. Aruna crushed Dias with the force of 100 horses, and he knew she wasn't letting go. A hidden mouse anxiously noticed the sudden quiet, thinking the hunting finally stopped. Though she'd hidden fearing capture, realizing she was safe, she decided to escape. The mouse tried to exit, horrified a heavy object blocked her escape, so she screamed for help, hoping someone would hear. Sinai shared tea from Dias with Akina, who loved the rich aroma. Sinai pondered if seeds and tea leaves were the same. He agreed, adding her parents loved tea. Maya told Dias to hold tight and give the signal, assuring him the trained bull was ready. Dias nervously gave the order, surprised by how smoothly they moved out. He was blown away by the plow. It tilled and weeded at once, finishing the job in record time. Grandmother Jirachi said after plowing, wait before sowing, then a few days before planting. The field was split in 2. Dias used stone fertilizer and leaves, while the other side used plant ash. Remembering Chirachi's grandmother used this same method, he decided to try it himself. Chirichi remembered the barren field, but urged digging a reservoir before planting. Dias was surprised, believing water was enough. Chirachi warns, enough water now, but the shallow river might dry up. Wells handle homes but can't irrigate fields. They need a reservoir for future harvests. He confirmed the reservoir's construction, and Chirich praised his quick genius. She rushed up to check the field, but Dias needed a few more days and asked if that's why they came. Semi announced Aruna made lunch, asking to call DS. HN confirmed Aruna called him, and DS thanked both girls for their care. Noticing her strange behavior, Aishan quietly asked if Dias was tired from hard field work. He denied it, but she warned he'd be upset if he couldn't handle it. He'd be upset, but he'll accept failure as fact. HN hesitated, warning that Dias will be furious if she and Sina are hiding secrets. He admitted if it was bad, he'd be upset, but if safe, he wouldn't care. Everyone has secrets. Something felt wrong. Their questions ignored Dias, and when he called out, they just ran off to play, fueling his growing worry. He kept asking what was wrong, but got no answer. Even Aruna failed, and though the villagers grilled the girls, they stayed dead silent. A secret troubled Dias. He watched the girls, saw nothing strange, deciding it was just their age, kids have secrets. Eventually, he let it go. 3 days since plowing, Aruna reveals Yamosi seeds, expecting the fast-growing herbs to sprout by tomorrow. Perfect chance to test the field's fertility. Dias thanked her, waiting for the next day. Klaus reported Kamlota finished the stable, shocking Dias. It started just 3 days ago. He realized the secret to their speed was pre-made parts, ready to assemble on site. The setup was perfect, easy to build, move, and resize for any herd. DS suggested neighboring areas adopt the tech too. He thanked Kamlot, who humbly said they just followed Eldan's orders. Daya offered Kamlot a gift, and Kamlot curiously asked what it was. Daya's mentioned earth dragon material, inadvertently scaring Kamlot's companions, then awkwardly refused, unable to accept such a massive gift. An attendee suspiciously questioned the gift, suspecting Dias's motives. Dias apologized, realizing they saw his gift as mere profit storage, only accepting it after a signed material transfer agreement. Next morning, Kamlot finished his business and prepared to leave. He thanked Diaz, but Diaz insisted he was the one truly grateful for their massive help. They started as awkward strangers, but after bonding over time, Akin and Sign broke down in tears as they parted ways. Aruna told them to stop crying, promising they'd play with the horses once they calmed down, or the animals might start crying too. Diaz wondered about gender. He checked, but nothing sprouted. Aruna called him to the result. Diaz replied it wasn't a problem. He didn't expect immediate success, suggesting they hadn't waited long enough after. Next day, still nothing. Diaz figured it lacked fertilizer and added another dose. Third day, still no sprouts. He thought not enough fertilizer, so he'd make a bigger batch. By day 4, Diaz's efforts failed again. He desperately doubled or tripled the fertilizer. Aruna snapped, telling him to stop and rest. She argued endless mixing was useless. The field just wasn't suitable for. Diaz agreed she was right. Failure happens, but don't lose hope. Just focus that energy elsewhere. Watching him, Sine asked for a plan. Aiken wanted to help Diaz but didn't know how, so she mentally called her mother. A voice screamed for help. Senna heard the unfamiliar sound, confirming it was a distress call and urging them to investigate. From the storage room, she desperately begged for release. Trapped for a week without water, her condition was critical. She regretted ignoring the dragon slayer and kept screaming for anyone to hear. Sinai confirmed the call came from storage. Inside a chest, the mouse screamed she was trapped under a heavy weight. Senai promised help, but she struggled. Achin warned removing bags would spill contents, and Misha, worried, apologized, begged them not to risk health, urging adults. Sani says the adults are too busy to call, making the mouse fear for the girls, but she agrees to wait. The girls pushed through to the end, and with the last heavy item gone, the mouse poured out her heartfelt gratitude. Isolation was tough, but they saved her. She introduced herself, asked the woman's name, and I smiled, praising the mouse's glasses. Misha thanked him, explaining her handmade glasses and book, prompting curious Senai to ask her identity and gender. Misha revealed herself as Emma, from the racing mice tribe. Jeroboa called her a woman. Aruna begged Diaz to stop, but he wanted to swap places. She screamed that he looked like a slave and told him to stop the torture. Senai needed to know why Emu was locked up, likely as punishment for her crimes. Emma clarified it wasn't punishment, just a long story some wouldn't fully get. Her acquaintances attacked Diaz Samu, got caught, and she was only nearby, uninvolved. Resembling the detainees, she feared unjust punishment for the attack and wanting to harm Diaz Sami, so she fled, jumping into the first chest to hide. Heavy items were placed on the chest, making escape impossible, locking her inside. After her explanations, Senai wondered if she was an enemy or felt animosity towards Diaz. Emma hadn't spoken to Diaz, making her neutral, so Senai approached her with an urgent matter. Secrecy was vital to keep Diaz in the dark, so Emma suggested finding someone they trusted more. Sani warns that no one in the village is fit for the job. Aruna, Francis, and Francois would just snitch to Diaz, and Emma knows the stakes are high. Sani said Diaz tried daily to farm, but failed because nothing grew, the land lacked strength. They can restore the wasteland, but her parents warned that humans would only abuse such power, so the secret must stay buried. Her parents insisted no one see her power used, a final promise from Ancient and her sister, while Sign still wanted to help Diaz. Iken offered Emma their power, explaining her non-human nature made it possible. Intrigued, Emma demanded details, and Iken asked if she understood. Emma needed time to think. She realized Sanai and Iken were forest people. They confirmed it, explaining their tribe protects and studies the woods. Emma explains her people protect the forest until they merge with it. To them, becoming holds a sacred meaning. Hin explained, dying dwellers pass strength and knowledge into seeds. Planted in key spots, these seeds grow into a forest. Emma then realized dwellers give seeds to loved ones, becoming the forest through them. Recipients must protect and grow these seeds into new forests. Once a seed becomes a tree, it transforms into a tombstone. Touch it to read the thoughts inside. Emma saw it as a living book of knowledge. The tree shares a blood bond with its people, who guard these living books. The twins use two powers to protect the forest. One magically grows the trees, while the other shields them from miasma and disease. Emma understood, questioned her place. Sanai, genuinely pleased, called her smart and confirmed her perfect fit. Emma knew the twins weren't ready for a forest, so they shielded the fruit field to grow their powers daily. The small barrier blocked disease, an incredible power. Emma knew exposing it would cause chaos, finally understanding why her sister's parents kept it a secret. She doubted living with Diaz, thinking it wiser to hide their strength, while Seni admitted initial fear, planning to flee and keep their parents' promise. Diaz's soft hands and tender voice reminded them of their parents, making him seem warm despite his foul smell. Achin agreed, adding Daya's stank, but was kinder than the frogman they met. His kindness made them stay, and villagers were kind despite his smell. They trusted him with a secret, confident he wouldn't abuse it. Emma understood their motives. The sisters wanted to honor their parents while helping Dayas, so they needed a way to cooperate. Emma explained that Earth's power is too weak to farm without the forest folks' help. Senai explains the soil drains all energy, making magic vanish instantly, so they need a barrier to stop it. Ikin said a barrier would fix everything, but Emma wondered what depleted the soil, believing knowing its nature offered a chance to act. Seine admits they have no answer, doesn't grasp what's happening, but thinks a good child caused it. Senate warned of a creature whose actions would turn the land to barren sand. Ikin stressed Francis, and the others would starve. The girls shared their theory, but Emma heard the doubt. They suspected someone was behind it, but she knew that was impossible. Bad soil and harsh conditions killed the crops, but she realized the land isn't a desert, it's just impossible to farm. Suspecting monster disease or miasma, she had to deploy a barrier fast without being seen. Emma suggested using the barrier discreetly so Dayas wouldn't notice. Sene replied it's impossible, Dayas is always in the field. H&N added after field work they slept. Emma suggests a midnight raid, but Sene shuts it down. They'd be out cold and unable to wake up in time. Emma offered to wake the girls, claiming she navigates well at night despite her appearance and can lead them, promising she'd find their home if they showed her. The girls readily agreed to consult Emma. Emma saw their worry, glad she listened. She shifted to the action plan, warning them to stay calm to avoid detection. The girls agreed, using a night walk as their cover, while Emma's anxiety spiked. That night she woke up alive and found a small hole the twins dug for her to crawl through. Spotting the dragon hunter, she knew she must hide, also noticing Dayas worked hard in the fields and, as the girls said, really stank. Emo woke the girls, introduced herself, then rushed them to the field to help Dayas, warning them to hurry before morning broke and they lost their chance. Girls woke, asked what's happening, complaining it's dark and scary. Emma wondered how they used the bathroom. The girls always walked with DS and Aruna, safe in their arms. Emma realized they didn't feel that same security with her. Aishin holds her mother's seed, while Seni carries their father's. These heirlooms comfort them, making it feel like their parents are still keeping their spirits high. Their parents loved black tea, so the girls talked to the seeds to feel close. Emma realized these seeds gave them a connection to their family and the strength to survive. Amy can wait, she stood aside, scanning Dayas's diligently worked field. It looked normal, no obvious problems. The girls chant spells until light engulfs them and sinks into the earth, leaving Emma mesmerized. Light dissolved into the earth. The girls finished the ritual, declared the barrier set, and finally slept in the yurt. Emma wondered if they finished work so fast and were already back. Then she realized her role was over. Trapped with the girls, she begged to leave before getting caught, but they were fast asleep. Panicked, Emo desperately struggled to break free from their grip. In a Melangal tavern, beastmen gossiped that Eldon was heading to the capital to be named Lord by the king. Eldon offers the magic stone to the dragon slayer, knowing the king will approve, and beastmen agree it brings lasting peace to Kazdex. They noticed people rarely got close to half-humans, making them uneasy. One suggested the dragon hunter had a half-human wife, their strong love obvious as they often walked together, attracting attention. He was shocked his wife had a horn, suggesting she was rhinokin. A beastman joked that a man could actually fall for a rhino. Dragon Killer's village announced recruitment, offering food and shelter to all races except criminals, instantly hooking the dog race. Talk turned to a long-eared mouse attack, led by a man claiming to represent a fake race of 8 people, leaving everyone confused. It became clear other groups emerged, claiming he incited them. Tall, he was wrapped in black fabric, concealing his face and body. The man in black cursed the beast for ignoring his gold, realizing he could only trick weak mice, and even they were useless. He regretted the poison was gone, vowing Dayas's death. Sansarif's knights discussed Diana Somas's defectors, a guard fearing it meant their influence was over. Mizusama's faction lost Duke Kazdex, ruler of the Western Trade Zone, leaving the throne wide open. Richard is a potential heir, but he's a gamble, and Isabel and Alina inspire zero confidence. They debated Kazdex's faction, but the Duke died of illness. His second son took power and avoided the Mazas faction. With the eldest son also rumored dead, everyone fears a noble epidemic. Future politics hinged on the second son's choice. He had good ties with neighboring Dayas and became lord of Nitrasov's Lux, a notoriously cursed place. They claimed fields were cursed, nothing grew, houses burned, but some called it a lie, believing Diaz's alliance with the Duke's second son would shape the kingdom's future. Someone who never met Diaz heard he was both good and bad before their conversation was interrupted. A guard shocked his comrade, revealing Diana-sama took the army and left the capital. A knight noticed she took 200 soldiers plus dozens of supply wagons. They suspected war was brewing. Another guard doubted it. 200 weren't enough for war. Still, they had to know what was. Aruna woke up and realized Senai and Aishin swapped in her dream. The movement puzzled him, making him wonder why, as cheerful Emma saw and quietly greeted him good morning. Diaz reported chaos in Iluk as tensions flared. Sina and Ikean were caught sleeping with a long-eared mouse, but Aruna was outraged, fearing the creature carried deadly diseases. He fumed the girls and the long-eared mouse, and Ima of the long-eared jumping mice were punished with a healing bath. The nearby dove realized this event caused the screams he heard earlier. Dee feared a repeat incident, but Aruna said Eames' blue skin meant they were safe. Shocked by the color, Dove quickly dropped the subject. Diaz recalled seeds sprouting just a day after they were sown. He saw seeds sprout naturally, but a perfectly round circle surprised him. Despite different conditions and fertilizers, the circle's greenery grew, ignoring all external influences. The dove joked the story was amazing, noting the field sprouts made the local birds extra loud. Diaz asked if he understands birds. The dove smiled, replying he had no magic, and Diaz spoke strangely. Diaz then described a third minor case that still sparked debate. Senai and Achins tried to save Emu. He finished cleaning, but mouse-infested beans made his stomach turn. He hated wasting food, and the pigeon agreed those tasty beans were too good to toss. Despite incidents, Diaz noted the morning's most important event was an unexpected visit. A pigeon named Jalant appears, serving as Eldon Samu's head of mail delivery, leaving DS absolutely stunned. The unexpected visit made him instantly question the noise, fearing something important happened. Jaleb confirmed something urgent happened, admitting he forgot an important, urgent letter he handed Diaz, asking for confirmation. Diaz tore open the letter. The jumping mice apologized for a recent incident, warning of a criminal instigator among them, while Princess Diana was stockpiling weapons near the capital, her mysterious moves requiring close surveillance. The third letter revealed a massive wave of dog people wanting to join. Diaz had to decide their fate now, and the official seal made it the top priority. Diaz asked Jalant what small breed meant, admitting he'd seen many dogs but never heard of that subspecies. Jalant explained dog people have two types, a large species, smarter, stronger, bigger, almost human-like, which Diaz probably met, and the small species. These primitive beasts are weak, clumsy crawlers driven by instinct that breed fast and grow rapidly. Jalant explained smaller species overheard larger ones in the village, wanted to settle, saw food shelter announcements, prompting their mass move. Diaz told Gallant to wait while he finalized the village's approval. Jalant agreed, and when Diaz offered the food, Jalant accepted with hope. Klaus approved. They needed every soldier, and as the base buzzed with life, Maya's mood finally lifted. Kairuchi, busy with soil, apologized but agreed if Diaz did, and Diaz noted other grandmothers he asked also calmly accepted. Diaz entered the yurt and met Rona. She wasn't angry, just worried about a mouse she considered a major threat. Diaz's words got the girls excitedly talking dogs, distracting them. Aruna couldn't teach anymore. Diaz asked about the girls, but Aruna said they were silent, just thinking, never explaining why they slept clutching the mouse. He trusts the girls have a reason for their silence and mean no harm, so he'll wait for them to reveal the truth. Aruna agreed, but she sounded doubtful. Diaz remembered Ima's soul was bright blue. She introduced herself as a long-eared jumping mouse. Despite Aruna's instructions, the girls instantly befriended Ima, showing genuine trust. Diaz noted this mouse was different from earlier attackers. Later, Diaz asked Ima why she was there. Embarrassed, Ima warned her story was long. Jalant flies off with Eldon's letter. Diaz expects it by sunset today. The hand-delivered letter accepted the Dog Nation's reps with one catch. Diaz reported Emma had arrived and planned to stay. Emma chose to stay in a Luck village. After explaining her family situation, she insisted on living there, so Diaz asked why. Emma wants to stay close to Sani and Ahen to watch them grow. Despite her looks, she's highly educated and knows her way around books and math. She vowed her best to serve the village, teach Sanai and Akina, and begged to stay, even as Diaz warned Eldon might send her home for crossing territory, but Emma stood firm. He introduced her to the village. Everyone approved, except for Aruna. Aruna doubted the mouse's place in the village, growing gloomy and alert as Emma responded with dignity. Claiming her desert race pure and not rodents, she confidently denied it to Diaz, prompting Aruna to accept Emu only with strict hygiene. Mouse rep Ama Dijaraboa just officially joined Iluk village. Diaz returned to the warehouse, shocked to find several packages missing. He spotted a hidden wine barrel in the warehouse center, moving, and knew it demanded attention. Ama ran to Diaz, thrilled. She heard the kitchen buzzing, gushing about ingredients and alcohol, figuring it was her welcome party and loving it. Diaz, catching her enthusiasm, said they should quickly join. He smiled, noticing Sign and her sister still adding walnuts to their food, a habit they hadn't dropped. Emma eyed the strange mixture while Diaz spotted sugar and guessed it was a treat. Stepping up, she asked for a taste. Diaz watched the massive preparations, fuming that they'd kept him in the dark. Noticing his shock, Aruna asked if he was surprised. Diaz admitted he was impressed, asking how she pulled it off. Aruna explained things were going so well that Grandma Maya suggested a banquet. With Diaz busy, they prepped without permission. She tried to warn him, but he was lost in a yurt letter, and Aruna called Diaz out for hiding the wine without consulting. Kingdom law forbids alcohol until 18 to prevent addiction and poisoning, as only adults have the self-control to handle it. Unsure of Oni laws, Diaz worried about 15-year-old Aruni after she tried alcohol, so he hid the wine, knowing it would anger her. Aruna sensed his thoughts, quickly assuring him she wasn't angry, understanding Diaz acted from concern. After their long time together, she admitted preparing the feast without permission felt like soft, symbolic revenge. Now married, she wants to face big decisions together. Worried Diaz might shut her out, she tells him to be honest because couples share everything. Dee apologized and vowed to keep it up. He tried to talk wine, but Aruna interrupted, claiming alcohol's harmless, even beneficial. Their united people drink kamas, a nutritious medicine, even given to weaned children in horse families. Horrified, Diaz warned that giving kids alcohol is dangerous and could kill them. Arunas insisted their culture never faced these issues. Those who didn't drink fell ill more. Without horses, they only drank hot water to heal. She and her siblings often fell ill as kids. It was a tough childhood. Maya saw them bonding and cheered, but quickly got annoyed. She told them to quit chatting and help prep, saving the wine talk for later. Maya cuts Diaz off, announcing they found wine in the pantry. It's time to celebrate. When the dog race arrives, everyone will party together just like Aruna planned. Maya said Aruna noticed dog people appeared, meaning Diaz would drink less, so Aruna quickly planned a party, though refusing wine challenged her. He realized Aruna was sincere, admitted he'd ignored their cultural gap, and let it slide. He knew new species in Iluk brought new cultures. Each time the village needed new rules, he vowed to handle it personally. As Lord, he'll protect the village and Lide, no matter who stands in his way. Neutral's territory now lists Aruna, Senai, Ikin, 2 Mimu, Klaus, and grandmothers like Maya. New residents include Ima, Jeraboa, 4 horses, 2 white buffalo, buildings. At breakfast, Diaz notices a strange white liquid called kumas. It's fermented milk from the mayor, fetched by the girl after last night's talk about booze. Diaz hesitates to drink so early, but she smirks and tells him to just. Someone doubts the drink's alcohol. Diaz says you need to drink a lot to get drunk. It's even kid-safe. Kumis is beneficial. It boosts health, adds strength, aids digestion, and purifies the body. Diaz realized his kumas talk with Aruna went wrong. He thought it was strong alcohol, but she saw it as a healthy drink. Cultural views caused their mix-up, so they decided to discuss their customs and past. The heroes saw the village atmosphere noticeably improve, sparking spontaneous conversations among residents. The girls showed off their massive harvest, thanking DS Thanksenia and Ihan for the help. The girls wanted their own field, so the man promised to plow them a small plot. They picked the perfect spot, finished the work, and thanked each other. Celia approached Diaz with a new idea, and he scheduled a meeting that night to discuss her proposal. Ramocelia worried more residents made direct discussion impossible, so she proposed electing representatives to voice group opinions to Diaz, preventing quarrels and bad decisions. That evening, everyone backed her plan, discussing its implementation. Diaz remains chief and takes full responsibility, but he'll now consult a council. Placid handles security, Arona represents the family, and Grandma Maya speaks for the commoners. Jajan declined the beast people seat, citing. They discuss the dog community must pick a representative. If more reps are needed, rules decide. The meeting dragged late and ended. Aruna spots the guests and wakes Diaz, who asks why they're here so early. Aruna, oblivious to their closeness, pushed them forward, promising explanations. They then spotted a large figure with smaller ones, identifying them as dog people, but one hero clarified. Big ones are camelots, small ones dog. A massive army charged the village, led by dogmen and a giant snake. Stunned, one hero couldn't believe these beasts were working together. The girl identified the monster, Anaconda Rook. Surprised, the man questioned how human dogs tamed such beasts, but she instantly clarified, no one tamed it, it came alone. Then, the girl worried, remembering her forgot. The monster devoured a dog man, igniting instant panic as people screamed, confused and weaponless. Diaz then charged the monster. The heroine screamed his name, but it was too late, he faced the beast. Diaz leaps into battle with the giant serpent roaring, jaws wide, striking powerfully to push it back and yank the captured animal from its jaws. He lunged forward, grabbed the beast, and yanked the victim from its jaws. Shoving the serpent back with raw power, he landed a massive blow that sent it crashing down. As the group wakes, AR realizes the anaconda hand isn't venomous. The dog girl cheers for his survival, while Aruna admits it's her fault for forgetting her bow and arrows. The girl thanked them, explaining a giant snake almost killed them until the locals saved the day. Aruna introduced herself and her husband Diaz, the local lord. The stranger, Canis, revealed she's a guide for Elden. She explains their differences in appearance and character. Dark-haired mastiffs, Tibetan mastiffs, are brave, proud of their strength. Brown-haired Sanjai are serious and straightforward, black and white. Canis explains the importance of clan names, while Aruna's soul check confirms her light blue aura of good intentions. The small folk show bright blue auras of purity, and since they get anxious without work, can. He suggested horses build a reservoir, care for livestock, and become soldiers for night patrols, training with Klaus and real battles. Diaz's job proposals sent the dog reps into such wild cheers others calmed them until Diaz calmly called for quiet, and the noise subsided as they sat, waiting. Diaz introduced himself as the local lord. He and Aruna sat with the guests, shocking the three clans with their respect. Canis was stunned to see a human lord treat dog people as equals. To her, this man was truly one of a kind. Marf of the Tibetan breed offered his clan as soldiers, but Diaz told him to drop the formalities. Next, Sergio of the Besingi clan demanded immediate work like building a reservoir, so Diaz agreed while reminding them to care for his. The Shep clan head, simply Shep, offered to tend horses, asked about village sheep, and when Aruna entrusted them cattle, all Sheps rejoiced. Diaz said no sheep, only similar animals, then tasked Shep with the horses. Shep agreed. Aruna introduced herself as Diaz's wife, greeting the mastiff leader who politely responded. Clans then praised Diaz as beautiful. Shep has 30, Besaga 25, plus 23 mastiffs. Diaz planned gradual involvement, but Canis doubted making human dog soldiers, citing unfit paws and weak bodies. Diaz realized Canis protected. Diaz thanked Klaus for his patrol and introduced Canis, the dog people's leader. Klaus greeted him, and Canis smiled back. Canis and the soldier share a romantic spark amidst flowers and glitter. Aruna catches the vibe instantly, but Diaz is totally clueless. In Obaka, grandmothers lead the way. Everyone hunts for magic stones, one for roots, one for leaves, and one for fertilizer. The tree only grows when these three forces unite. 10 days since dog people reached Iluk, they've joined daily life, fetching well water, while girls use inherited magic stone skills and cultivate their plots. Canis was wrong, the human dogs were naturals, mastering horses and tools with ease. As the Clouds started training the first squad, Diaz and Canis watched with pride. A mastiff lunges with blinding speed, showing incredible power and agility. It precisely strikes the target, then rushes Klaus, who, surprised, realizes even a training strike can be devastating. A mastiff pinned Klaus, who praised their quick victory and progress. Klaus was no ordinary warrior. He survived war, earning the nickname Klaus the Beheader for killing enemy generals. Diaz skips the explanation for his dog soldiers and lets Canis see the results for herself. Diaz remembered powerful, talking human dogs from the war and knew they'd make perfect allies. He saw no plain threat. Any arrivals were just petty thieves from the outskirts. Princess Diana's military descends deep into Saint Seraph's royal tomb, where first kings rest. She forbids touching coffins or statues, stressing they're there for military treasures, so don't take too much. Princess Diana declared her aggressive plan: use the scepter to destroy Diaz, crush her siblings, then raise an army with treasures and dragon scales to seize the country. Her goal: become a legend, like the founders who burned thousands with that. Furious at his defiance, Diana reveals her trump card, the royal seal. It forces any saint to obey her, and she's ready to make him submit by force. The princess brands Diaz a traitorous murderer, vowing to expose him to Richard, while an observer mocks the gullible royals as dangerous fools. Seeing his chance, he'll strike Diana right after she hits Diaz to prove he's better than the parents who rejected him and become a national hero. Prince Richard arrives with his group, spotting the agent from Diana's enclosure back. Richard watches Diana rob the royal tomb but refuses to act. He's too terrified of Diaz to risk a fight, knowing he'd be dead before he could strike. Diana is already doomed. That rabid dog will show her no. Diaz's nicknames reveal his character: hero, bloody axe, defender, or even balls out and well-wisher, each with a tale. During wartime occupation, Diaz was ordered to take revenge. Diaz fought the war, yet spared civilians. Even independent of the royal army, he prevented mass killings and looting, thanks to his principled volunteers. Kindhearted's name was twisted into the insult, no balls. Nearby, he caught noble kids planning to join the army just to loot. Flashbacks reveal war's horrors and constant brutality. A noble smuggler shrugs off his crimes, but Diaz watches in silent judgment. Witnessing injustice, Diaz punished young nobles. He was arrested, accused of striking nobility, and now faces the royal court. After the nobleman incident, Diaz declared nobles who fail the weak aren't true nobles. The king and influential figures backed him, closing the case without trial. Diaz isn't dangerous because he's cruel. He ignores every social rule, making him an unpredictable nightmare. The council debated monitoring Diana and handling Diaz after his royal conflicts. Despite doubts of open defiance, they chose to distance themselves, and nobles, hearing this, cut ties. They debate Diaz's border post. It wasn't exile, but a mission of trust. The king relied on his skills to guard the frontier. For 20 years, Diaz fixed the king's failures and saved the kingdom from war. He always won without any help, making people suspect his brother was secretly pulling the strings. A girl logically questions who Diaz wronged in the royal family, despite his nobility accusation. She disproves each option, leaving everyone awkward. The memoirs follow a cocky leader who led his squad into a trap to show off. After his men were crushed, a mysterious warrior appeared and saved his life. Memories flood back, an arrogant young hero in danger. Even as royalty, his rescuer scolded his recklessness, then defended and strictly taught him for months. Diaz shaped Richard into an honest, hardworking man blind to status, while another, watching the country crumble, demands intervention before incompetent rulers ruin the state. The prince hunts Diana to seize the seal before she reaches Diaz. He drains the royal reserves for the mission, while an ally recruits the guild to track and kill her. The prince hates that a war hero might starve, so he alerts Diaz to this cruel irony. Meanwhile, Diaz lunches with the girls, who tease him about his milk mustache again. Constantly betrayed, even by Prinia, she can't grasp why no one understands her righteous actions. Her royal blood fuels resentment, and through tears, she knows the truth is hers, unacknowledged. Armed with her artifact scepter, Diana claims the throne. Diaz saw something alarming, tensing and staring into the distance, then calmly told his companion her food was tasty. She was taken aback but didn't pay attention. One froze while the other killed the dog. The boy rushed to help with a medical kit, and stunned by his heroism, the girl watched in awe as tension flared between them. He struggled with their divide. As a human, he couldn't be with Canis, the dog tribe's eldest daughter bound by tradition, but a powerful bond was blooming. Corredio commands a dog to lift a board, filling the tank with water. Everyone cheers, their efforts paid off, securing vital water for village survival. The dog people finish the pond early, and the crops are already budding. But as he fills the water and calls the horse buyers, he's shocked to find a stranger claiming his land. Diaz, an unskilled rider, took Bayers, deeming it foolish to give a thief to someone who can't handle a horse, while Bayers, Carbion, and Grisha show excellent skill, understanding commands though. Diaz confirms he's an unskilled rider. His horse often disobeys, but adapts, making rides possible. As the village rests, Diaz and the buyers watch the kids call him and Arana mom and dad. When they approach, a stoic Diaz asks if their horse needs a break too. Grant delivers Eldon's urgent message to Diaz. Diana just invaded Malangali with an army. Eldon was forced to host her, and now Diaz must act immediately. She declares she'll kill Diaz and seize his estate. Eldon subtly refuses, but Diana reveals a royal decree confirming her claims, making her official threat critical. Diana's royal sealed document was a forgery, commanding all military forces to her to destroy Diaz. Though it bore the king's genuine seal, Eldon knew from the start it was fake, making Diana's actions illegal despite. Yeldon, unfazed by Diana's pressure, politely refuses to decide, claiming he'll discuss it with vassals. He despises Diana, calling her foolish, and his hospitality hides a plan to eliminate her ambassadors. Thinking of the future, one warns the group to respect everyone's feelings. Alden refuses to hurt Diaz, even if he must sacrifice himself. Diaz farms once barren land, a massive win for neighboring Costex, while Eldon's council is split. Half want Diana and her forged decree destroyed, while others fear for the kingdom's future. With no agreement in sight, Eldon sends Grant to get Diaz's input. An attendee recalls Cannies' letter just as a postal bird bursts in, shocking everyone. The rabbit snaps as the bird crashes, but the message is delivered. Recognizing the bird as Grant, the advisor grabs Diaz. Amidst tense confusion, a character demands the bird read the letter. The bird sighs, revealing Diaz agrees to cooperate with Diana, per the royal letter, baffling the council. Diaz's letter stunned the session hall. The girl told Klaus he wanted to talk. Klaus realizes he ships out tomorrow with Diaz, facing death. He must confess. Everyone knows, but he anxiously tells San he truly loves her. Klaus confesses, and a tearful Cannies admits she's loved him since day one. As the dog tribe's eldest daughter, she's forbidden from outsiders, but she doesn't care, and a trembling Klaus. Klaus and Kannas hugged after confessing, shocking the girls. They whispered about a fight, but the woman set them straight. Cannies tearfully says goodbye to Klaus, vowing to wait for him back home no matter what. Klaus stays quiet, but his eyes hold sad resolve. Their parting unfolds for all to see, as onlookers stare in. Dawn breaks over a field of corpses where two warriors stand. One scopes the horror, the other, worried, realizes this is just the start of war. 5 days after Eldon's letter, the climax hits. Diana arrives leading 50 armed soldiers. Eldon has 1,000 soldiers, 200 poorly armed, matching his letter. Murph commands 10 battle mastiffs. Klaus geared the mastiffs in dragon leather armor strong enough to tank his own strikes. Agile Amur joins as a scout, bringing the squad to 12. Outnumbered, Klaus hesitates and calls for tribal backup, starting with Eru Nusama. If danger strikes, hide Aruna with camouflage magic. Diaz prioritizes the village, but regrets Eldon is officially an enemy. Eldon wants to join them, yet he's forcing his men to obey the king. Diaz prioritizes village safety, questioning the attack on Diana. The plan uses Amur's traps to split enemies between Eldon and Diana, then retreats, luring foes into traps for a surprise ambush on Diana, making her. He preps for Operation Removal, while the heroes plan their strike. Dog tribe markings reveal every trap, and despite the doubts, they have no choice. Secretly, he plots a rear ambush with the reserve buyers, keeping the team in the dark. Running free and rebuilding their home in the meadow brought stability and belonging, though danger threatened to rip them from their deeply invested efforts. But nurturing the field became their emotional anchor, silencing children's cries and offering support. Diaz anxiously eyes the field, their spiritual heart, realizing it's not just land, but family he must protect. An ancient bell tower looms before the troops. They'll use its toll for secret commands to dodge enemy ears. As the sound rings out, the weary soldiers feel a surge of dread. War is finally here. Bell signals the army's approach, and observers know repeated strikes mean a mass assault. Enemy commanders grow worried, questioning why the charge started from so far back. They suspect the distance will exhaust the soldiers and spark total chaos. Mid-battle, Diaz shouts orders. Hold the line, watch closely. His voice commands order through the chaos. Diaz barks battle orders, prevent a breakthrough, monitor the situation. His voice cuts through chaos, maintaining order. For the decisive battle, Eldon's 1,000 warriors took point, joined by Diana's 50 fighters and 200 mercenaries. Facing them across the field, Diaz's army of just 12. Soldiers stood tense in formation, faces hidden by steel. They gripped their weapons as the commander stepped out to order. Suddenly, chaos erupted. The army stopped, baffling the enemy as soldiers broke rank. Diaz saw only the center advance while the wings stayed back. This weird tactic stumped the commanders until a messenger arrived with news that changed everything. As the battle heated up, Eldon sat back and sipped tea. A panicked officer demanded an explanation for ignoring orders, but Eldon just smiled and said he was busy with his drink, leaving the man stunned. Commander raged at Eldon's inaction, but Eldon calmly sipped tea, prioritizing it over command, believing a true aristocrat never misses tea. He felt a few elite fighters sufficed, having already supplied the. Ignoring the fight, Eldon finished his tea and demanded another cup before giving orders, while another character grew suspicious, remembering no one else would take their case. A mercenary realized Diaz was the target, but the captain ordered a retreat. Attacking him meant war with the entire army. Diaz saved countless lives last war. Even Duke Kazdek wouldn't cross him. Mercenary returned payment, then bolted, panicking commanders. A breathless officer ordered attack, but enemies already retreated. Diaz and allies watched, stunned, convinced Eldon stalled, sipping tea, and Diana's plan failed. Diana's rookie soldiers approached, looking like total amateurs. Diaz almost let them go, but decided to disarm and drive them out instead. He told Amur to cover his ears, knowing things were about to get brutal. Hearing Aruna's cry, she vowed to find a way if Diaz forbade the attack, leading the Iluk Women's Association to back her husband by any means necessary. The wise woman studied the magic circle, assessing the ritual's results. Though she wanted to learn more about Echo, this was enough. A beastman reported the circle's activation complete as hooded figures approached the yurt. Elders cheer the ritual's success, Muse's visions confirmed, earning their gratitude. But Eldon, watching through binoculars, asks Camelot to assess the enemy's fighting style. Diaz fights with immense power. His heavy, precise strikes demand respect. Despite his build, he's highly accurate and immensely strong. Klaus guards the rear, stopping flanks and predicting enemy moves. Their battle coordination inspires respect and fear. This duo is unstoppable. The heroes are stunned as these small, clumsy dogs defy every expectation with pure instinct, leaving even Eldon shocked by their skill. Klaus gripped his weapon, remembering his promise to return. He was determined to survive, but as he focused ahead, a threat crept up behind him. His comrades saw the danger, but Klaus was oblivious. Klaus charged at Diaz's call and blindly struck the enemy. Diaz pointed to a snake at his feet, revealing the true danger. Diaz warned him to stop being reckless, while Diana watched with irritation, her lips tight with tension. Diana grabbed power, demanding obedience. She tried to activate the legendary scepter, but it yielded nothing. When no one obeyed, she despaired, baffled by their defiance. Diana felt a jolt as something whizzed past. An arrow struck, stunning her and knocking her off her horse as the others scrambled to find the shooter. Aruna commanded them to seize Diana's horse and staff under invisibility, then lead her to Eldon's eastern forest, to stop her magic and neutralize her battlefield impact. Diaz's ally in trees aimed to scare Diana deeper, choosing intimidation and capture over an easy kill. An unexpected shot unbalanced Diana, making her vulnerable. Aruna held back, honoring his hatred for killing. Choosing capture over death, her men quickly took Diana prisoner. Two mercenaries ambushed Diana, lucking out before the Diaz meeting. They're delivering her and the seal now, even though one got distracted by food again. Arrows flew towards the mercenaries, alerting them. One worried, unsure of the attackers or their motive. Suspicions fell on Diaz's men, troubling him as he hoped to avoid conflict. One man desperately justified himself. They weren't Diaz's enemies, but followed Richard's orders, his former student. He flashed coins, promised the captives return, begged them to stop firing, and said. To calm the pursuers, he threw a coin pouch. Panicked, he ordered companions to retreat, showing no resistance. Their faint red auras proved they weren't evil, just linked to Diaz's orphans. Sparing them, she left Diana's fate to Richard and headed back to cook Diaz a victory meal. To thank Diaz, she imagined singing to him or letting him rest while she handled everything, proving he could trust her. Lost in a daydream, she playfully offered to handle everything for Diaz. Blushing hard, she rushed ahead to turn that fantasy into reality. A defeated soldier begged for mercy, admitting it, as Diaz explained the enemy was exhausted, heavy armor worsening their plight. The defeated enemies surrendered. One raised a spear for a truce as the rest bowed, while Diaz watched calmly, hiding his emotions. Enemies lost spirit, dropped weapons, surrendered, allies unharmed, beaten opponents alive. MC fumed, missing Diana and their confrontation. Post-battle, a companion rages Diaz abandoned command mid-fight to charge, demanding he set traps if he won't kill. Diaz calmly replies he delegated all secondary tasks, including command, to the kingdom's best wartime tact. Eldon marched into Diaz's camp to surrender and save the captives. He admitted their invasion broke the law, and with Diana gone, they had no leader left, so they gave up to end the war. Diaz accepts the truce as the enemy admits defeat. Eldon lies to save face with the king, spinning the loss for a strategic edge, while Diaz generously lets them keep their pride. Diaz doubts the truce helps Eldon but backs it, as Eldon, needing leverage, plans to use past events, seal theft in Diana's actions, to victimize his people and sway the king, concluding talks with. Aruna appears, confessing she spiked the patriarch's breakfast with healing stimulants, explaining DS's battle readiness, earning her praise as a worthy knight. Diaz realizes Aruna's herbs gave everyone a massive surge, but her use of conception drugs leaves them stunned. Meanwhile, Moore plays matchmaker, making Aruna his nanny to force her and Diaz together. Aruna, chasing Diana, met a man claiming to be Richard's messenger, a child Diaz raised, and let him handle Diana, sparking Diaz's doubts and my skepticism about Richard's existence. Diaz and Aruna's talk was cut short, so they split. After trading captives to Eldon for a reward, they returned to Iluk, where the village women gathered the loot at Aruna's request. Diaz expected a normal meeting, but Aruna and the Dog Tribe housewives were launching a Lux Women's Association. When he questioned the secrecy, Aruna reminded him he'd ordered the villages. The dog brought a staff, catching Diaz's eye. Closer, a magic pearl pulsed in its core. Intrigued, he suggested testing its power. Aruna tried to trigger the staff, but it failed. It glowed, yet nothing happened, making her realize the core was just a powerless stone. Raising the staff, Diaz felt a strange power, like his battle axe, an overwhelming sensation he knew came from Aruna's magic, awakening the previously ordinary stone. A fiery dragon burst from Diaz's staff, revealing the artifact's hidden power. The staff suddenly activates, shocking everyone as it blasts into a huge pillar of fire. Aruna compares its power to Diaz's weapon as others scramble for answers. Aruna keeps the staff, shocking the crowd, while the heroes return home to a joyful welcome. After the Diana battle, heroes reunite peacefully. Diaz and friends test the staff's powers, but only Diaz can control the artifact. Diaz couldn't explain the unique staff's power, only vaguely suggesting an axe-like swing for fire. No one believed him until Aruna used magic, and Diaz unleashed flames. Now the staff's. A month later, summer hits and the capital is buzzing. Diana's been arrested for stealing the royal seal and plotting a rebellion. Prince Richard exposed the coup, but the hero's rewards are gone. This leaves Prince Mise in a bind, while Eldon gets dragged into the mess from the west. Once the conspiracy broke, the king arrested Diana, stripped her privileges, and imprisoned her in the temple, sparing her death. Prince Richard, exposing the plot, earned the king's trust, united Diana's and Macy. Duke Eldon's fame exploded. To apologize for Diana's mess, the king granted him a 3-year tax break. Using his political cunning, Eldon walked away as the sole winner. The king's 3-year tax break gave him total control over the West, shattering the old order. Richard is now powerless to stop Kuzdex while backing the duke's claim, and even the king can't take back the. Richard couldn't forgive letting Duke Castex win so easily after his political defeat. Meanwhile, hero Diaz's glory spread fast across the kingdom. People said he, resourceless in the cursed land, succeeded thanks. Diaz became a legend for slaying an earth dragon alone, marrying a beauty, and leading hundreds to build their own village. Diaz's doubted rumors proved true. The king, recognizing his merits, granted him a dukedom, new name, and Eldon's tax benefits, spreading his legend across Sansarif. Diaz's exploits reached his western home, spreading to influence people across the kingdom. The work is done and peace is back. Summer is coming. Tomorrow brings chaos, but tonight it's just family and rest. Once Diaz settled in, Aruna took care of him. Determined, Aruna carefully sat beside Diaz, her focused gaze ready to take initiative. Leaning over, she fixed her eyes on his head, noticing a surprising small bald spot in the yurt's dim silence. Aruna's hand rested on Diaz's head, a sign of support. Tired but calm, Diaz gratefully accepted. Diaz proposed finishing today, and Aruna agreed. Diana and Diaz clashed on the battlefield as Francis and Francois moved west from Anic. Dogs usually understood, but now they were just guessing why the animal was so anxious. An earth-shaking roar made Francis and Francois flinch. As the animals panicked, Francis felt the sound was targeting them and decided to head home. The sheep thanked the dogs and suggested returning home, but the confused mastiffs quickly forgot the powerful voice once they heard Diaz won. Girl groomed the white horse, asking if it accepted the saddle. A man watched, thinking Aisha, the last rider, was Diana. Aruna named the mare Aisha, an ancient word for her moonlit coat. Since horses stay loyal to old masters, they chose care over rushing a new rider. The man insisted Aisha needed time to adjust. Aruna's horn glowed green, her magic sensing a living being approach. He knew her magic only sensed proximity, not who or what was coming. A dog agitatedly warned Diaz someone approached. Diaz grabbed the animal, calming it, and wondered who. The girl suggested a pagan dew, a small, slimy creature with a huge mouth. Diaz waited for the recruits he requested from Pageant. A guarded cart appeared, and Pageant jumped out, confirming everyone arrived and recognizing Diaz from the rumors already spreading. Ray Pageant introduced himself as Pageant's brother, delivering the goods on his behalf. He bragged that their family built a massive fortune through generations of land and sea trade. Patient Ray replaced his older brother, still trading despite declining health, and after Diaz asked for more people at the estate, Diaz noticed something strange. Bessigin Ray explained his brother avoided slavery because DS disapproved. He sought another path, but beast people refused to leave their lands, leaving only the bloodless option. Losing beast power makes you bloodless, with only the strength of a normal human. Eventually, they vanished, replaced generations later by children with weak blood. Unlike the old king who persecuted bloodless, driving them to escape, new beastman King Diaz loved them, married a half-human, helped the homeless, and offered his estate as refuge to critical fugitives. He needed to scout the area personally before bringing in new people. He wanted to help everyone, but had to stay cautious. He'd also heard a nearby lord was busy rescuing beastmen and half-humans. The man sent everyone to Eldon. The woman agreed, and the frog realized a nearby lord protects demi-humans and beast people. The frog boomed, making a man note their relatives' strange similarity. as Pechinri proposed a trading post with the Beastmen Kingdom to teach the bloodless trade and strengthen vital relations. Todd apologized for snapping, blamed his nerves, and demanded they finally get down to business. Eager Merchant pushed an exquisite mother-of-pearl bowl and inlaid box, but bewildered Diaz protested the price. Aruna slammed the gold bag, demanding all it could hold, and ordered all good-looking items. DS, surprised, cautiously asked if she was sure the well-made items weren't practical for daily life. Aruna argued that gold isn't everything. If they stop buying, traders will leave. They have plenty of cash, and happy merchants will spread their fame. Dyer agreed, giving her full control since they can always resell the stock. The merchant offered a jeweled necklace, calling it perfect for Diaz's wife since they could afford anything. Aruna knew the merchant lied, calmly exposing the fake necklace stones and demanding a real barrel of alcohol. Smiling, she joked their money bought even dried fish, leaving the merchant stunned. Aruna confirmed the merchant's truth and agreed to continue. Fearing profit loss, the merchant suggested a new price. Aruna calmly agreed. He left the negotiations to Aruni while their dog scratched the cage, curious how the birds got trapped. The dog opened the goose cage, unleashing honking geese. Frightened, the dog barked, fleeing the angry birds, drawing attention. A man heard the chaos, surprised to see free geese just as Grandma Maya appeared. Grandma Maya says geese grow fast, live long, and make fierce guards. Seeing them healthy, she calls them birds of blessing for their meat and eggs. The man wanted the geese. The seller priced 6, but the girl demanded 20% off, starting a long argument. The merchant confirmed more items in stock, heard the heir wasn't appointed, then brought the goods, warning the high price was worth it. The merchant shows off a weird, let's get pregnant suit, promising it guarantees a baby. The girl rejects the rope-like outfit, but the merchant offers male versions, claiming aristocrats love them. Debates ended, purchases concluded. Few goods at first, but negotiations swelled their numbers. Aruna got a discount, yet still bought more than planned. He thought this battle was a draw. Hiro thought the market dispute was a draw, but faces proved him wrong. Aruna's trading talent helped Pigeon sell most goods, even expensive handmade jewelry, making Hiro realize everyone won. Aru instantly spotted Pagan's overpricing and calmly talked him down. Pagan still profited, but they secured the win. The hero stocked up on geese, supplies, and paintings, while AR demanded her usual barrel of booze. Workers move goods to the warehouse. The MC jumps in to help. Helping the heroes with boxes, the girl noticed old clothes, got curious, and explained they were belly dancing, acrobatic, and men's costumes, then declared aristocratic men disgusting. The girl imagined outfits, some revealing, others modest yet provocative, then blushed, pushing her thoughts away. Aruna pictured men in revealing outfits, but the realization left her stunned. Shopping finished, Dillies thanked the group, and they gave their heartfelt thanks. After the delivery, he noticed Aruna's red face and asked if she was okay. Flustered, she insisted she was fine, but her anxiety was obvious. The luminous frog asked Diaz for more requests. Diaz requested future supplies for the dog tribe, adding they had gold and silver coins they wanted to use. The creature agreed. It promised something better next time, but Arna snapped and told it to shut up. After the pagans left, Diaz saw their massive workload. No tasks were complete. Build a chicken coop, gather river water, and the frog-like creature warned everyone to prepare. Peasants ran to Diaz, joyfully calling his name. The puppies greeted Diaz, proud of their effort. He thanked them for helping Grandmamea, but seeing their filth, he asked what happened. Grandmamea explained they'd been grinding through Guy's chores. The women thanked Diaz for the geese and winter feathers. His coop plan worked, the pups helped, and since the coop was tiny, they used me as a house. Realizing their massive help, Diaz thanked them. Diaz thanked the puppies, promising rewards for all villagers, fighters, guards, everyone for recent events, telling them to gather in the square after cleaning up for his first-ever post-Diana battle ceremony, which the puppies gladly. In the crowded square, he announced the dog people greatly aided Diana's defeat. Fighters earned 2 coins, non-fighters 1. Gold handed out, the crowd thanked Diaz. One dog vowed to guard his share, but another stepped up with a weird request. He wanted to drill a hole in his coin. A stunned Diaz asked why. One dog wanted to drill a hole in the gold coin, others gladly backed it, but Diaz was shocked, wondering why. The dog happily hung Diaz's award coin on a string around his neck, vowing to wear it forever. Diaz meant the coin for spending, not decoration, yet he was still moved by their sincerity. When Diaz explained coins bought things, the dogs protested tearfully, shouting they hated giving up their rewards, some stubbornly vowing never to part with their coins. Diaz was stumped. He'd paid the dog people in gold and silver, but they weren't spending a cent. He soon realized they were using the coins as yurt decorations. It reminded him of his army days when he Diaz saw dog gold coins were now souvenirs, not money, worrying him about problems if dogs stopped using them after he'd ordered tribe supplies, so he asked a dog how important gold and silver were. Shyly, the dog confirmed it values coins because Diaz gave them, admitting it just likes shiny things, not the coins themselves. Diaz offered a special keepsake to get the dog to accept gold as money, and the dog chose the gift over the coin. Diaz realized a souvenir could beat gold if people valued it. Testing his theory, he searched for the perfect replacement. A girl suggested Diaz craft necklaces from his kill's tusks, fangs, or bones as mementos for dog tribes, who gladly agreed, calling it wonderful. Girl ended the meeting, saying Diaz would personally deliver their necklaces when ready. She asked him to handle it. He smiled. Aruna thanked him and asked for a special necklace. Diaz agreed, and she smiled, reminding him to keep paying the dogs for their work. When asked if Senkai, Ikhin, and Amur stayed in the auditorium, he replied two studied with him. The girls want necklaces too, so Diaz asks for intel on the Black Agi, reminding them their jewelry comes from the bones of their own dinner. Confused, the girls rejected the beads, while Diaz realized his reward choice was a mistake. Aruna said dog people don't value jewelry, preferring things with feelings, so Diaz suggested using gemstone fragments for a special handmade gift. DS asked to decorate, so Aruna offered to teach him if he failed. Trusting her eye for detail, DS thanked her and gave it a shot. Diaz feared being easily read, so he's shocked Aruna read his unspoken thoughts, realizing she used this tactic with Pagan. The girls laughed, Aruna just smiled. Diaz could read minds, calmly carving something. He'd outdone himself. Aruna approached, stunned he was already finished, and asked to talk about the results. Aruna loves the result, sure the dog tribe will be thrilled, but Diaz realizes making amulets for everyone at 3 days each will take forever. Aruna said Diaz's pace would finish the task fast, but warned him not to rush, focus on every detail. Then Arna reminded him of their talk and asked Diaz to teach her komaboda. Yuna asks Diaz to teach her to build a kamabod stone stove. Diaz is stunned, but realizes it solves the labor shortage Amur warned about. After kamabadu, she proposed roofing the whole kitchen, claiming a stone stove would cook faster, then asked for opinions. Diaz agreed, but worried about roof materials. They'll write Grant for supplies when he arrives, while Arane suggests buying the barn roof from the traders. Diaz checks in as Candace heads home. Arna sends a message with her now that the dog tribe has successfully settled in. She saw Klaus must work solo. Before Canny's returns, they must build Klaus's yurt and finish prepping, while Diaz keeps working hard. Aruna dismissed the news, revealing Klaus and Canny's had feelings for ages. Someone, surprised, asked how long, and Aruna explained Canny's was telling her father about Klaus. Heroine, surprised, asked how he missed it. Clowns and Canes always flirted at meals. He, shocked, only asked about the food. Ignoring their bond, the hero focused only on the food. The speaker noted the wedding prep, confirming Canny's was staying with Klaus for good. She thinks Klaus and Canny's will have kids soon, but the hero needs to hear their story straight from them. The hero felt happy but surprised, nodding to confirm they were together. Yuna happily announced she took his first finished necklace, which the hero didn't mind. After all, she deserved the first gift. Aruna unexpectedly loved the gift, but the hero panicked, now needing a second wedding gift and completely lost. Crafting decorations, the hero noticed his beadwork was flawless. Aruna was right, mastering one meant mastering them all. Nearby, the girls peeked into the yurt to watch him. Little girls wanted beads, but he initially refused before agreeing. He promised to make them jewelry. The girls happily ran off, leaving the door open. He reminded them to close it next time. Suddenly, someone bursts in and yells for Diaz. A guy bursts inside with urgent news, but the other man tells him to stay calm. Outside, a girl and her dog watch in shock, both totally clueless about the chaos. Klaus wanted a gift despite Canny's advice, so he asked Diaz for ideas. Diaz realized it was an engagement gift for Canny's parents, so Klaus pressed for tips, recalling Diaz's wedding gift too. Diaz told Klaus to gift dragon parts to Canny's parents. Klaus was shocked, but Diaz revealed they loved it, valuing the gift at 30 buffaloes. Klaus decided he'd make it work too. He warned her not to rush the gift, unsure about the buffalo. Diaz urged Klaus to use his gold, but Klaus, despite earning it, insisted on giving something he truly earned himself. Klaus chose a hunting trophy for Kunis's parents, asking Diaz, who doubted they'd like black buffalo meat and warned Earth dragon hunting was dangerous. Diaz told Klaus hunting black buffaloes earns him memu wool from the village. It's a perfect gift, and Klaus knew exactly what to do. Diaz knew Camelots held premium memory wool, the perfect gift for the newlyweds. Klaus was proud his work secured this rare local treasure and asked Diaz for hunting tips. Diaz doubted his own skills, but Klaus insisted on learning. He knew he must fight while hunting, and thanked Diaz for his help. 5 days passed. Diaz, used to the work, flew through it, expecting to finish in days. Then girls burst in, one telling Diaz, "Cannies is back." Interrupting their lesson, the girls shared big news. Cannies told Diaz her parents agreed. She's moving in. She vowed to work hard as a Clausen and asked him to look after her. Diaz noted their work, hoping Cannies would focus on Klaus. Cannies happily confirmed she'd try, but her friend reminded her she had something to say, which Cannies eagerly recalled. Her father's busy ruling while Elon, Sama, and Camelot are at the capital. Workers arrive later, but since her father is swamped, only her mother can attend the wedding. Diaz delays the wedding since Klaus and Kenny must hunt a black buffalo and visit Kazdek first. He asks for patience, as the return date is uncertain. Diaz suddenly remembered something important, telling everyone to wait. Then a girl remembered more, enthusiastically offering to go immediately. Diaz, surprised, asked if she was really going. She confidently confirmed. Another girl anxiously asked if Clausen. After 5 days of hunting black buffaloes, Klaus only caught 2. He stubbornly refused help and dogs, using megaby powder to hunt alone. He insisted on claiming the prize with his own hands, and no. Klaus refused Madabi powder and dog tribe help, choosing to hunt alone across endless plains, fighting black buffaloes with only his strength. Candace liked Klaus's gift to her parents but worried about his actions. Her companion, seeing Klaus succeeded alone despite rejecting help, pondered next steps, then noticing Candace's odd behavior, asked what she was doing. Flattered but worried by Klaus's recklessness, Cannies decided to teach him a lesson. Since he wouldn't listen, she'd use a special technique for stubborn men to force him to understand. The girl nearby remembered her mom's advice. These methods work, and she'd used them herself. Worried, Aruna quickly reassured the agitated man it was nothing, mentally preparing to use her learned technique for her wifely duty if needed. He worried about Aruna's technique, begging her not to use it, adding if she slapped him, it better be for a good reason. Aruna calmly replied she'd only use it for a valid reason, and they shared a knowing smile. Aruna asked Diaz about gifts for Klaus and Cannies while the girls prepped a banquet. Diaz was clueless, but Aruna told him she already had everything covered for the ceremony. Diaz knew he had to prepare a great gift or he'd look terrible. After talking to Cannies, Klaus changed and finally accepted help. Cannies joined the dog tribe, using matabi powder to dominate the hunt. They caught black buffaloes in 3 days, then they went to Cannies' parents. An observer saw them leave, Diaz noted it. Panicked and giftless, the hero searched frantically, abandoning the beads. As time slipped away, he recalled the lesson from the black buffalo hunt. He knew if he missed the 3-day deadline, Aruna would still host a lavish feast. No time to consult her, so he turned to Moore, the Oni leader, who was surprised but understood. The hero had to turn to Moore. Her constant useful advice, from practical trophy uses to farming, trading, and fighting Diana, made her his first thought. Morrow admitted he kept surpassing her expectations and promised to advise him however she could. Mom told him to get quality wool bedding for the wedding, since every new couple needs it. He pondered Bedlin's link to the newlyweds' nightlife, puzzled. Though surprised, the hero quickly understood and agreed it was a wonderful choice. Morrow, surprised by the reserved hero's relationship with Aruna, suggested bed linen as a gift. He thanked her, confessing his dream, Aruna holding their child. Morrow offered her fertility-blessed linens, and the hero accepted, admiring the stylish patterns. Hero asked what it was, told it was medicinal herbs to help conceive. Capital craftsmen arrived with supplies. In 3 days, they built a furnace and kitchen. Extra workers added a toilet and goose barn, finishing the entire build. Work finished perfectly, so the hero paid each worker 10 gold coins. Despite his price worries, the builders headed back to the capital the next day. Klaus and his team, van-loaded, finally returned home to joyful children and adults, who greeted them with warmth and relief. Resting by the fire, the old man thanked his companion for the tea and care. The girl explained their foster parents raised them to always help the elderly. The girl confessed she wants to meet her father ASAP, hinting he's Diaz. Diaz nervously asked Irina if his outfit looked strange. She smiled, said it suited him, adjusted it, and praised him. Everyone was ready. The ceremony began. Klaus and Kins are getting married. Standing together, Klaus looks tense, while a blushing Kins stands calm and content. The man headed the ceremony. Kingdom traditions were followed, but Klaus and Cannies added customs from the dog people and their village. The host said people can't live alone, so they invented family and learned to love others. Sacred scriptures echoed since childhood, teaching them to live right and avoid mistakes. The priest explained Saint Dio's blessing is vital for the wedding, then congratulated Klaus and Cannies as they start their family. Dias spent his life praying for the dead, celebrating births, and blessing weddings. Klaus remembered those lessons, asking Dias to lead his ceremony. To Dias, Saint Dias' message was simple. The priest reminded them of basic truths: love neighbors, respect self, enjoy life. He urged no harm, no theft, no demeaning, no persecution, stressing that even if forgotten, these truths still matter. The priest tells the crowd how Saint Dia learned the world's secrets and guided the first king to greatness. After building a temple and writing holy scriptures, Dia died heirless, leaving his wisdom to the people as the ceremony begins. He announced a new era, calling for a massive feast. The crowd cheered wildly as food hit the tables. Organizers announced food was ready, inviting all. Villagers and animals eagerly ate, starting the celebration. Guests crowded tables packed with food. One man bit into nutty bread, watching Senya and Ikin feast right along with the rest. He praised the tasty nut bread. The girls smiled, jumping for joy until he sternly told them to be polite. They calmed, obeying. The man and girls stood by a food-laden table. Everyone smiled, eager for the feast. Girls exchanged glances, laughing. Someone signaled the start, greeting Murph, Cedric, and the chief. Dog people tossed the groom high, counting in unison. This ritual greets the village, announces his marriage, and supposedly protects the couple from cheating. Stray dogs launched the groom skyward for a hug, a ritual to purge jealousy and mark the singles. He laughed, unable to stop the puppy's relentless hugs, as others watched with warm smiles. The man thanked everyone for this celebration, promising he and Cannies would create a happy family in the village. The girl vowed she and Klaus would find happiness, promising to make every effort. Villagers cheered for the newlyweds, animals celebrated too, and the bride and groom shared determined, happy looks. The village erupted into celebration as women clapped, girls sang, and beast children danced. Aruna asks Dias to dance, promising to keep it simple. Dias admits he's a bad dancer, but Aruna insists her tribe has no rules and they'll figure it out together. Dias and Aruna swayed together. She leaned into his chest as he held her close. He watched surprised as couples swayed to the melody. His girl pressed close, eyes shut, smiling peacefully, fully trusting him. As the celebration died down, Dias realized it was late and grabbed his gear to head home. Dias announced necklaces for battle rewards, urging calm and assuring everyone got one. Klaus suggested giving gifts at the ceremony, but Dias explained he'd planned it post-battle but was too busy. The creatures bragged about their gifts from Dias as the old woman was moved. The girls with ears beamed at their jewelry, and even the girl with glasses was shocked to get one too. Dias gave the girl a necklace, a reminder she belonged, and she was surprised it was for her. Sini and Ihan joyfully gave another gift, congratulating her. Amger sent a letter wishing her happiness. Francis and Francois prepared a valuable Mimu horn fragment, while meadow dog people gathered beautiful stones. A hero thanked them, stunned by the rare halite, while another wondered if it was local. Suddenly, Dias hauled over a massive pile of bed linen as his own gift. Dias's bad underwear gift shocked everyone, but one hero gratefully accepted, unsure how to thank him. The elder praised his choice, while another explained the embroidery's prayers for a safe birth. Dias grabbed the bedding and headed for the yurt. Elders tasked youth with questions. Everyone dispersed. After a long bed linen talk, one man chose not to rush, not to finish by sunset. The ceremony ended way sooner than expected. The man in charge noted the speed, then reluctantly agreed to help finish the work. Near the cave, Hugo's beasts report finding village tracks. A subordinate suggests following the cart to the village or just raiding it. Hugo confirms the village is on Netro's meadows. The cart heads there, and wealthy buyers. In the cave, Huggis declared the strong rule the weak. His men cheered, certain their leader would crush anyone in their path. Cart rolled, boy worried if they chose right. Someone assured him it was right. Meanwhile, a beast noticed them, alerted, ready to defend against bandits. Spring turns to summer, and the hero's life changes. Chores are now a habit as he helps at home and works with the villagers. Hero thought Francois was pregnant, so she barely leaves the yurt. He realized she wasn't sick, she just loves relaxing. Arune called Mimu's behavior strange, but Francis disagreed, trekking to the meadow daily to bring Francu fresh grass. Admitting he wanted Francois close, the hero sought her out evenings after training and chores, until a call interrupted his thoughts. Villagers report guests arriving with meme sheep. They aren't bandits, just peaceful travelers with 6 memes, so Francu takes Dias to meet them. Franz stressed 6 memos demand the Lord's meeting, treating them well earns respect. Another man agreed. As Dias and Franz neared, the woman pointed, asking if he knew Asa and Eli. Dias was shocked. Dias stared in disbelief at his grown family, thrilled to see them again. He asked about the others and learned they were all thriving, starting businesses or getting married. Ellie saw Dias, yelled father, and ran to him. Diaz was happy Erica joined them, and Erica confirmed, "It's me, Ellie." Someone anxiously asked Erica if he's okay. Eric said he was fine, thanking Diaz. Diaz found children kind, but Eric's appearance unsettled him. Uncle Ben suddenly appears, shocking DS, who thought he was dead. Ben snaps, calling DS a grown man with nothing but sawdust in his head. Shocked to see Diaz has kids, Aruna admits he had no clue they existed. The girl declared herself his wife, shocking everyone. An attendee pointed out she was underage, making their union illegal by royal law, but she simply didn't care. The girls apologized for their behavior, but a sudden energy surge cut the man off as he spoke to Aruni. Someone snapped to attention and yelled, "Who's there?" Huggis and his squad snuck up but got spotted. He griped, sick of killing, called them greedy, and demanded surrender. Hugo tried to speak, but his enemies had already vanished. Travelers used concealment magic, warning them to leave immediately. A woman revealed Hugo C., a former knight, betrayed the kingdom and was exiled after his comrades nearly killed him. One girl had an idea. Finding no enemies, the men wanted to retreat. Hugo, annoyed by their fear, forced the people to choose life or money. Suddenly, Lord Diaz stepped forward and challenged Hugo to it. Diaz proposed dual terms. Lose, he serves Hugo. Win, he takes the gang. Hugo, shocked by Diaz's identity, considered the offer as his subordinates warned him. It's a trap. Diaz taunted Huggis into a fair fight. Huggis dropped his blade, eager to show who was really in charge. Diaz dared Hugo to drop his sword and fight fair. Hugo agreed, vowing to show him who the real master was. Hughes furiously lunged at Diaz, raining punches, but Diaz endured the barrage focused. At the perfect moment, he deftly dodged and landed a powerful counter, stunning Hughes, who gasped, "What?" Mid-battle, a gasping Huggis wondered why hero Diaz lived in the backwoods as a simple lord. Diaz calmly corrected him, "Even the strongest aren't alone. True strength protects friends and family, loved ones." Summoning his last strength, Diaz hammered his opponent with fury, proving his resolve with every strike. The hero clenched his fist, refusing to stop, giving his all. He kept striking the opponent, believing only perseverance would bring victory. The hero's power stuns his enemies. One admits his strength while the rest flee helpless. His family cheers. One woman gets goosebumps from his protection, while another beams with pride for her husband. Women avoided a fight over Diaz. Everyone agreed. When a girl asks for her mom, the orphans explain they call foster parents dad out of love. They vow he won't disappear, even though the situation is clearly dangerous. A girl said Diaz wouldn't have lost if strength decided victory. Hardworking orphan Diaz lived life to the fullest, earning everyone's respect. He was so loved that soon, every orphan ended up under his care. A character said Diaz gathered orphans, created a guild where they helped each other, and taught them to read, write, and work honestly. Thanks to Diaz, the orphans calmed down and earned the town's respect. They landed better jobs and finally turned their lives around. He saw Diaz as leader, then brother, then father. He made them a special family. Diaz mentions Uncle Ben, a temple priest who mentored her. He's her brother's father, but he vanished years ago. Her parents claim he's dead, but she knows he's still alive. The girls asked about Diaz's parents, curious if they resembled him. Someone claimed Diaz's parents were kind temple workers, unlike him, but Uncle Ben shut them down, revealing they were actually the chief priests. When the group learned Diaz's parents were the temple's high priests, they were shocked. Someone asked for more, and Diaz agreed. He explains that Saint Dia defied the king to build a temple and educate the people. The king respected his power, so Dia shared his sacred relics to help them rebuild the nation. He said after Saint Di died, temples taught God's commandments, but teachings stayed mysterious. God's appearance was never described. Massive temples once ruled the capital, and Diaz's parents were elite high priests. But today, the priesthood has lost its influence and fallen from grace. Participants are surprised. One calls the great temple a random crowd, another agrees. They reveal temple rifts started before you were born, an ancient religious crisis. The heroes recalled the priests splitting over rival teachings. Their fathers backed the old ways, but the new side won. After the Holy Land campaign, their fathers vanished and the old faith was wiped out. The man was shocked the main character ate human flesh all day. He then searched for the first family, finding the high priest's only son. He meant to scold the hero, but seeing his peaceful family life, he realized he was thriving. If it's true, their ancestors can finally rest. He warns her that her husband is trouble and asks to be called uncle, but she insists marrying him is a total honor. A woman declared a 20-year-old marriage pact. He'd marry Ellie, demanding he honor his old promise of a ring. Diaz reeled, confused, as the girl beside him irritably snapped. Ellie screamed betrayal. He mumbled about a past ring promise. Though one man doubted, another confirmed his strange behavior, and Ellie saw his feminine soul. The girl tells her dad the new girls are sisters, and his wife is great, while the confused girls question their roles as someone screams for attention. Meanwhile, the village buzzed with activity as soldiers obeyed the elder, reporting new residents and buildings. A month after the battle with Diana, society is shifting. Order is back, but new movements are rising. Prince Misa is chasing money instead of rebuilding his faction, and while other groups stay quiet, their suspicious moves demand total vigilance. In the capital, Diana's fate was sealed. No remorse meant temple transfer. One speaker, despite initial doubts, backed Richard for his reputation and Daya's connections, claiming no other choice. Richard was surprisingly patient, and the man trusted him to deal with the mice. An advisor reports Capital Intelligence suspects Prince Misa's empire ties. No proof, but highly likely. The leader orders a full investigation. No one suffers. Subordinate agrees. 5 days after arriving in Alak, a girl praised their royal robes, but the group complained the fancy dresses were impossible to work in. Villagers enjoyed life their own way. Aruna and Eric got along. The broad-shouldered woman saw dresses didn't suit her, envying others who looked better. The daughter rejects the young bride as immature, but the girl calmly vows her life to Daya's, leaving the woman stunned by her composure. The girl understood her feelings, clearing her of blame. She stressed their shared love for Daya's meant mutual support. Stunned by such kindness, the interlocutor grew closer, now helping daily and tackling problems together. Uray told his brother they're heading back to the safe city and handed him gifts. Brother understood, calling their decision natural. Everyone has a home and job, so returning to the city makes sense. He added, parents let kids go when kids stand on their own. Uri wished to stay longer, but circumstances forced. Diaz calls Uri a man, but warns he'll beat him to death if he abandons his duty. Uri agrees he's too old to slack off, but his brother reminds him, their father will always scold and care for. Diaz wouldn't return Eric's feelings. Accepting them meant he couldn't be his father. He was needed by Eric and all the other children, so he had to remain in his place, unwilling to ruin that bond. Eric sprinted to his father, sobbing as the man held him tight. He remembered the tribe's promise. Good souls like Eric always find happiness. He knew Eric would find a great partner and vowed to always guide him. 2 girls wanted pets. A girl heard the strange cry, approached, asking what happened, while the man hugged the kids, telling them to stop pushing and wait. A nearby old man asks if they're saying goodbye to Diaz, reminding them they'll return to the city in 2 days. Girls anxiously asked if everyone was leaving. The man calmed them, assuring he and Maya stayed, so no sadness. The older man encouraged them, promising they'd meet again, telling them not to cry. He's staying to herd sheep and keep that man in check. He's done with the temple and his pointless journey, but someone asks if Uncle Ben is really quitting for good. One woman stayed, having emptied her store with nowhere to return. The village lacked negotiators, so she took charge, proud her skills were genuine. He hoped new residents would liven up the village, but when 6 sheep-like creatures arrived, he wondered why. They lived peacefully until the kingdom captured them, forcing them into terrible conditions. Learning of their execution, Mia escaped with a traveler's help to a new place, but a new issue emerged. Mia's emigration was undeniable. The leader's spot was still open, and one guy didn't know Francis was next in line. A male leader arrives with newcomers. Heroes must choose a new village head from 2, but strict traditions make conceding tough. A hero suggests separate leaders, then realizes tradition must prevail. Crowds gathered for Tumia's leadership trial, but one observer felt uneasy despite understanding the selection process. An observer saw Mia and others face off, belting bold sounds like a powerful song, believing their singing expressed visions for the herd's future, Mia choosing their leader. The Mayas kept singing to prove their dedication to the herd. The observer realized leadership wasn't about a pretty voice, but the raw effort and heart behind the song. This was how the herd would pick their next leader. The observer pondered how to pick a leader the herd would recognize and obey. He was shocked Francois didn't back her husband Francis, but he realized she knew a good husband isn't always a great leader. She needed a ruler who could secure their children's future and protect the flock. As the herd sang, people watched, understanding the gravity. An observer noted the leader's choice would affect the herd's future. The flock song fades as the sun sets. Francois still can't pick a leader, even as exhausted sheep fall silent from the long struggle. From the horned ram's side, one stepped, then another, then a third. Observers saw Francois finally act and join. Francis started his chant, and the crowd knew the situation was locked. Realizing her help would be awkward, Francois stayed back to see the end. Everyone watched the ram refuse to quit, his voice lost in the roar. He strained with all his might, never backing down despite loneliness and fatigue. The choir fell silent, all eyes on Francis. He realized they were singing just for him. The girls cheered, knowing he'd won. Francis stood shocked but thrilled by the sudden victory. People shouted, hailing Francis their leader and celebrating his victory, amazed by the sheep's intelligence. Francis, seeing his success, stepped aside, smiling, watching his labor's fruits. Once the sheep gathered, the heroes realized one was missing. The horned girl searched for Maya, the fat ram, who suddenly split from the flock. Diaz found it impressive and refreshing how the sheep, despite fighting, nobly recognized their foe and sang, while Francis saw the ram fight to the end with no malice for his companions. He liked the meat's position. Despite losing, he wasn't mad at the comrades who snubbed him, he was just green. Francis realized his sheep needed names, suggesting Azim or Tanmas for the ram. Diaz named the ram Zerbalto, and the ram clearly agreed. Diaz smiled, promising the new name would make it look even better. The girls loved the decision, one adding she adored her father for it. Sheep bleat as the man returns. His daughter asks where he went, and he claims he was in the bathroom. Aruna asks if he washed his hands, and he just smiles. After the victory celebration, everyone gathered near the tent. At the festival, the man names the sheep, only to find they're all Zerbalt's wives. They demand beautiful names, choosing Zermilla, Zermia, Zerfana, Zergu. Wives feared Francis's leadership would harm marriages, but his honesty and clear merits soon outshone Zerbalt. They respected him, believing his victory promised new lives, watching him sing and wondering his thoughts. They had 8 lovers now, and Francis stepped up as their leader. Eldon returned from the capital, heading to meet a man at Lord Kazdik's estate, where he met Yuha, who, smiling, declared himself the kingdom's best soldier, most handsome and most. Eldon eyed Diaz's supposed ally with suspicion, and Juha's interrogation only raised more red flags. Eldon normally wouldn't care, but Juha was a vulgar, broke drunk known for causing scandals abroad. Juha, claiming to be a shadow hero from Diaz's last war, requested an audience. Eldan met him, cautiously asking if he served Diaz. Juha confirmed it, though uncertain, then unprompted. Juha claimed he served with Diaz, but they constantly fought over women and booze. Eldon suspected a scheme, noticing Juha ditched his lazy plans once he saw the rich city. Juha knew city playgrounds cost a fortune, but the park's construction drove development. He felt culture begins with play, so valuing the park, he chose to serve Eldon. Juha lied to meet Eldon, knowing he'd be ignored otherwise. Eldon warned it was a risky move, but Juha argued most lords wouldn't even see him, making the park their only option. Smiling, Juha reminded Eldon Diaz bought him free to end the war, then asked Eldon's price, noting he was different. Eldon felt awkward, having paid a huge fee, but swore it was temporary. 7 days since Iri and Issa left Iluk behind. A hero wondered if the guild received their help letter. The letter also suggested trade, which would be good. His father said the bloodless beastmen would arrive soon, losing their beastly nature. The hero plotted his move, annoyed the bloodless traded where they weren't recognized. To fix this, he opened a guild branch in neutral Castex to act as a legal middleman. This move would enrich the guild and force. Aru Nadian prepared goose eggs for dinner. Some were soulless. She usually added them to soup, but decided to boil them this time, hearing it was tasty. He envied her power to sense souls in eggs, remembering when Nadian used it to reveal his soul was female. Zainan Khan watched cute chicks hatch, following parents. Diaz, fascinated, chased the chicks himself, baffling the observers. Fearing a breakdown, he saw Diaz as a parent to the chicks. Unatian supported resting after work, while he questioned if Aronachen's hard work was actually bravery and how they defined courage. Aruna asked how Tian expresses his masculinity, and Tian replied it's a short story. Aruna worked to support her poor family. Since she hunted and patrolled unlike other girls, people teased her instead of calling her brave. Aruna laughed, admitting this job led her to Diaz with no regrets, but another character demanded why their family was poor. Aruna's blamed her family's poverty on a parasite. They suffered for years because her brother ruined her father's hard work. To her, parasite doesn't even describe how evil he truly was. Aruna's revealed her brother's debt, and women bankrupted their family, but thanks to Diaz, they're no longer starving, a relief the interviewer acknowledged. Aruna's thanked them, explaining that Oni Chief Mora introduced her to Diaz to help her. She felt the support was for her sake, especially after Mora gifted Diaz 2 rare animals, Francis and Franz. The heroine saw Aruna's orphan plight mirrored her own, preventing hatred. A woman compared Aruna to those saved by a white knight, a metaphor for a sudden destiny arrival. One girl saw a noble knight on a white horse, while another smiled at her father's bravery. Heroine forgot the eggs, lost in chat. The other woman, surprised by their quick friendship, dropped her hate and grudgingly taught her to boil them. Finally, Heroine pulled herself together, helping her dad. During their break, a girl spotted dinner, but Oaru and Tien grabbed her bow and headed to the clearing. Warning the others to back off, she focused and aimed at the wooden target. Aru Nat Tayan's arrows struck the target, practicing daily after chores. A woman watched, mentally praising her, then called Aru Nushin. The woman asked why the bow was so strong, so Aruna explained its unique build. These were nothing like the kingdom's gear. She guessed they used mixed materials, and Aruna confirmed it, seeing bone and horn. Aruna explained their bow: hard horn or bone for compression, soft animal tendons for stretch. They reinforced the grip and string points. Aruna explained their bows evolved for horseback combat, each custom-built for the shooter's size and power. Finally, she told him to try drawing it. She tried to draw the bow, but it was too tight, barely budging, impossible to handle. Aruna explains this earth dragon bow needs magic to fire, and only Dayas can prep it instantly. Girl explained dragons and high-rank monsters have tough skin, armor, muscles, and tendons, powered by magic. Hearing of the earth dragon, she was shocked, couldn't believe it. Aruna explains you channel magic to soften the bow. Releasing the shot unleashes that energy with massive power. He doubted its complexity, drawing a horse, aiming, and infusing the shot with magic, but the girl said it only needs practice, not as hard as it seems. Only 5 days into training, Celia and Aiken shot a bird midair while riding. Aruna explained their tribe naturally used bows. Kids quickly learned to shoot. She advised Ellie to try horse archery for battle advantage, admiring the children's frighteningly accurate shots, even adjusting for wind despite their weakness. Aruna's group tensed at a strange voice as someone barked it insulted the Oni. Recognizing him, Aruna smiled, wishing the beasts had eaten him. He yelled he was there to save her, accusing. Hiro recalled Aruna's tribe tradition: youngest leads, elders support then move. He'd seen Aruna and her siblings betrothed, but only now realized his error, thinking her family was just 6. Dayas called the kids for dinner, but a terrified puppy warned him that Aruna had attacked a mysterious horned man. Dayas saw the commotion and asked what happened. Billy explained a stranger appeared, thinking it was Aruna's older brother. Aruna fiercely hit her brother as he tried to justify himself. He was blindsided by Aruna's brother, having never heard of him. Iri was stunned he didn't know. He figured Aruna was ashamed or feared ruining the marriage, especially since the brother skipped the wedding in total. Aruna's brother pleaded. Dayas urged Aruna to listen, warning Sani and Iken would see her vulnerable, a bad look. 2 girls approached the terrified Aruna, but Dayas knew the names hurt too much. Trembling, Aruna dropped her hand and wept as Dayas watched with pity. Aruna's furious brother blamed Dayas for turning his sweet sister cruel, vowing he'd never forgive the evil master. Puzzled, Dayas questioned the modesty comment, then noticed the siblings' striking resemblance. Dayas saw the tension between Aruna and Zorg. Zorg loved her, but she hated his weakness. Dayas knew she still cared, and his influence was finally changing her. Zorg returned home, learned Aruna married an old lord, and exploded. Convinced relatives sold his sister into a forced marriage. He stormed out, ignoring explanations, to bring her back. Zorg tried reaching Aruna, but her sudden rage backfired, leaving him trapped as the crowd stared and a witness watched in shock. She asked if Zorg was jealous. Zorg scoffed, denying jealousy but admitting surprise Aruna had a lover, since he'd hoped to be her partner. He then blasted the father for hypocrisy. You oppressed your family. Zorg bowed in regret, but Aruna snapped it was too late. His family and the chief begged him to stop, but he ignored them all. Zorg defended himself, claiming the woman was sick and promised to pay him back, baffled by her blue soul rating. Aruna called him a liar, slamming him for ignoring her warnings that the woman was a total fraud. Character questioned how an evil person got a blue rating, insisting evil intent should be red. Aruna explained ratings are magic, easily deceived or distorted. Spells interfere with magic checks, letting stronger mages fool the examiner, and careless magic gives false results. Sam masters magic and resists its pull, but a sorcerer tricked her brother. Magic is treacherous, and one man is already tracking the expedition's every move. Zort realized his lord mistake, speechless, severing ties with Arna as the case closed at her request. She reminded him dinner was before sunset, vowing to never worry about the sky again. They urged him to stay, but he claimed he's fine at night. After warnings about meadow monsters, he accepted their yurt, though Aaron refused to share the space. Tense, they set off next morning. One noticed the good weather, grabbing Zort just in case. Annoyed by the attention, Zort demanded space. Aruna smiled, explaining he had to protect his family, but still felt uneasy. Zort left, carrying 2 bundles of Aruna's custom bows. Zord opened the package, finding a custom-fit bow. Aruna swore she'd toss the prototype, but the careful wrapping proved her love, showing she still saw him as a brother. Zort waved it off, then asked why Dayas looked blue. Realizing the magicless boy couldn't lie, he was stunned. Dayas confirmed he'd always been that way, and Zort, confused, asked if he felt pathetic. Dayas remembered his past. While other kids mastered magic, he had 0 power. He cried and lashed out in frustration, but his family and strict uncle helped him accept his fate, forcing him to grow up faster than the. Diaz stopped envying others and chose action. He quit chasing the impossible and pushed his body to the limit. That grind led him here, proving you don't need magic to make it. Zort felt pathetic, despised and laughed at for his uncontrollable flaws, but Yuna and another woman didn't mock his magic, and that meant everything. 5 wind dragons appeared, astonishing the heroes. One worried he couldn't handle even one, let alone 5, calling it a cruel joke. Zord loudly demanded his name, ordering him back to the village to protect someone important. Wind dragons target eyes and ears to blind their prey. Too light for one-hit kills, they slowly exhaust their victims. Spotting the beast, the archer warned him to watch closely. A wind dragon was closing in. Hero's weapon failed, shocked by the enemy's power. They learned its bow was earth dragon material, needing special arrows, so one hero tabled it. A hero sniped the enemy through the chest, cheering to his teammate that one was down. One enemy fell, the others sped up, their comrade's death making them serious. A giant dragonfly lunges at the hero, who tenses up and readies for the strike. Heroes noticed enemies got faster. Tens and collected, repelled a fierce attack from a dragonfly-like creature. Another character thought Windia Ragnon's fierce attack began. His chest ripped open in agony as insect-like monsters swarmed the sky, closing in fast. Man cries out in despair, remembering Aruna made his clothes, as monsters fill the sky. A character freezes, seeing a huge horned creature rapidly approach. A massive blow shakes the ground, but he's unscathed. His eyes easily track the enemy's speed, making him wonder if this is even his limit, while the witness stands frozen in shock. His ally screams to retreat, but the MC stays calm, admits the bug is tough, and crushes it with absolute confidence. Heroes debated why dragonflies stopped attacking. One feared continued attacks meant trouble, another thought they feared death, and the first warned dragons could aerial fire attack. Heroes questioned why dragons didn't breathe fire from air. One explained their flames were weak from afar, adapted for close combat. They suggested human blood attracted dragonflies, stopping their retreat. All agreed, don't let the. The heroes strategized against flying foes. One slacker promised to step up, while another suggested hurling an axe at the dragon. The team doubted him, but he insisted it would at least distract the enemy. A hero told his comrade to trust him, then grabbed his battle axe and charged. His comrades watched amazed as he hurled the axe skyward, hoping to hit flying enemies. A warrior roared and hurled his axe skyward, leaving his comrades stunned by the height. The axe hit a flying target, stunning observers. One, baffled, called the thrower an idiot, unable to grasp the impossible shot. Giant insects swarm from all sides. The heroes gear up as one fighter charges forward with total resolve. Diaz landed a powerful blow on the insect, while another hero quickly took out an enemy with a precise throw, but a monster snuck up and grabbed the fighter from behind. An insect grabs and stings a fighter, but his calm ally saves him with a precise strike. Their 5 dragon feat was unheard of. Wind dragons appear yearly, rarely defeated. He'd never imagined becoming a true tribal hunter, but saving his friend would now change the village's opinion. Confused by the clumsy hunting, he snapped when his partner roughed up the dragons. He demanded they handle the loot with care, reminding them of the price tag, while DS wondered what his problem was. He confessed Aruna made him, supporting him and doing his chores. Too grateful to speak up, his friend called it unroyal, since Aruna even sewed his clothes. Everything about Diaz feels suspicious, but Arna panics, demanding to see his injury. Diaz shrugs off his ruined clothes as others warn the cut needs immediate disinfecting. Aruna proudly declared she expected such bravery from her husband, a small price for destroying wind dragons. As a character joyfully told her, he also killed a dragon with her bow and arrows. Aruna thanked him for the materials, splitting the loot since they both killed the dragons. Her brother spoke up and she snapped, asking what he wanted. Diaz urged Arunas to treat Zorg better, saying he craved recognition. Arunas retorted, if Zorg truly cared for family, he'd go to Oni, care for his siblings, become their head, and find. Zort's weaker wind dragon fearlessly fought the green one, leaving a massive impression. Between his expensive boots and raw courage, Aruna was secretly won over, explaining her sudden kindness toward Diaz. Aruna smiled, suggesting a party, and the whole village, ready to celebrate, gathered by the fire as music and joy filled the air. Villagers partied hard as Diaz soaked in the joy. Aruna stole the show, hyping the crowd, and Diaz smiled at the massive success. Diaz recalled the party, realizing it was more than a dragon victory. Aruna smiled, sharing his feelings. Later, Diaz got up, and when asked where he was going, he simply said bathroom. Diaz spotted a lone sheep and was stunned. Francis and the others were at the celebration, so he asked if it was lost, but he didn't recognize this animal at all. Diaz couldn't understand the sheep's bleating, suggesting the square where she'd be heard. The frustrated sheep fumed he didn't get it, surprising Diaz when his plan to ditch the issue failed. Diaz froze as the sheep spoke. It calmly handed him a bag, leaving him stunned and whispering in confusion. The ram praised Diaz for twice killing the human-formed dragon, revealing he served a master. He gifted Diaz 3 San Giovanni leaves and 1 seed for his bravery, warning they'd wither if sold for profit. Diaz was stunned. Dizzy and obsessed with the word San Giovanni, DS struggled to focus. Aruna found him wandering and checked if he was okay. He mentioned Aram, but she blamed his exhaustion from. Diaz couldn't believe it was real. It felt like a dream or hallucination, but clutching the bag, he knew it wasn't his imagination. Dignitaries met to rebuild the empire, but hit a dead end until one proposed a risky plan that could harm Diaz. Yuna asked Diaz about his constant weakness after the Wind Dragon battle. She called him tired, ordering him to rest today, and when Diaz tried to clean, she insisted he rest, smiling as she added he'd just work. To eliminate Diaz, they'll use Mace's rebels for the kill, then execute the assassins to bury the truth. Officers discussed Diaz. One called him the general's father's enemy. The general agreed, but Diaz was their patron, so he doubted cooperation just to harm him. A soldier claims Diaz's strategy nearly drove his father to suicide. Forced to use dishonorable traps, the father felt broken, but the general reveals Diaz actually saved him despite his betrayal. Heroes neared the lake. One gasped at its beauty. Diaz knew its shifting water made it unlivable, but still worth a visit. A witness recalls Diaz fighting his father fairly, charging head-on like a true warrior. His father died with dignity in the clash, and Diaz looked like a loyal comrade. Diaz got a day off from Aaron to relax. He let them take the steep route. Surprised, one wondered if he was okay, noting the cold water. Amidst political chaos, they noted only Princess Isabel was active. They decrushed the Mace faction if they crossed Diaz, but one man insisted he wasn't seeking revenge. Squealing with the dogs, the girls plunged into the water. Men urged Macy, focus on the throne, not trifles. One griped, no meeting, no budget. Another promised, it's handled. Elsewhere, others plotted to eliminate the royal family, but one argued. Heroes enjoyed a quiet day. One fished, a girl watched nearby, a man fed his dog, and sheep grazed by the water. One conspirator fumed over low pay, vowing to target Kadisk for his disrespect. The second suggested waiting for someone else to strike, while the third agreed it was finally time to rethink killing the royal family. Richard spotted Empire Mace moves, and as Nari Yisax continued meddling, an interlocutor, shocked Richard knew, hinted Mace was Empire-linked. Richard warned unnoticed events are vital, they wouldn't lose outright. One girl finishes Aranahorn as another agrees it's similar, while a third dives into the sand to drift through the chilly water. One man swore it wasn't over. Another was ordered to guard and assist the miners, worrying it'd be tough work. A guy cheers for his massive catch as a girl pushes Klaus to do better. Nearby, another man watches silently. The man confirms they'll leave for Daisidon at dawn, getting ready, but the old man warns Eldon and Sama not to rush after their rest. Someone asks about the catch, but Uncle Ben mocks him. A man warns he's hooking too early, and the hero finally realizes his mistake. One's hyped for Di Macedono, but the second's swamped with state affairs and can't go despite wanting to, while the third doesn't care. He watches his master suffer, feeling totally helpless. He remembers San Giovanni, a divine cure from the mountain of the gods that heals all. It could save him, but he doubts the gods would ever give it to Eldon. At dinner, the girl gathered everyone to help Diaz recover. Kids asked about his catch, while others wondered if his strange leaf was a rare treasure. Hero enters, dreading another lecture, surprised by the chief who, seeing him, declares he's changed his mind. He can't forget the past, but admits capturing 3 wind dragons was worthy, offering a gift as gratitude. Diaz tried the berries, finding them plain as always, and asked if they were from the Mori tree. The girl replied she picked them, surprised by his reaction, while an elf explained Diaz's strength made body changes hard. He handed over a ringed dagger, the mark of a chieftain candidate. 3 rings put him in 3rd place. Financial ruin blocked an instant promotion, leaving him as just a contender for now. She reminded her husband their family, no apologies. He was surprised, then agreed, thanked her, admitting she was right. The chief says slaying 3 dragons proves his strength, and with that experience, he's destined to lead. Warrior clenched his fist, declaring that's the chief's way. The chief watched calmly. Pleased with the win, the group cheered and headed back as night fell. Asked if he rested well, Diaz smiled, admitting he hadn't relaxed in ages. He thanked them, ready to try again tomorrow. Diaz suddenly collapses, stunning the crowd. Diaz wakes after fainting, Arno and kids nearby relieved. Arno explains, high fever all night, he collapsed returning from the lake. Still tired, Diaz struggles to understand. Wounded fighting wind dragons, Diaz is fading from a deadly infection. Poison from a plant or bug triggered a massive fever, knocking him out cold. Aru takes full blame, admitting she missed his failing health and sent him on a mission anyway. The woman comforted the self-blaming girl. It wasn't her fault. Illness at work would have been worse. Timely rest caught it. You stayed up all night. Now rest, she tearfully apologized. Two girls urged the sick man to drink medicine. He felt too weak for a sip, but seeing their effort, he fought his weakness and drank. The man was shocked by the sweet, refreshing drink. Unlike typical bitter medicine, this was delicious. The girls smiled, explaining the leaves came from Diaz, leaving him baffled by the tasty remedy. Medicine hot, Diaz fought sleep to spare the girls, but fatigue won. They wished him good night. He quickly slept. Later, someone called, hoping he'd hear. Diaz woke up fever-free and feeling stronger than ever. His wound was still closing, and a worried Aram asked how he recovered so fast. Vena warned Diaz not to worry her, noting his too easy recovery from a serious illness, asking if he took herbs. Diaz replied he ate nothing, hinting he was fine, adding his wound healed surprisingly fast, even surprising. The heroes questioned Diaz's instant recovery, realizing Azian gave him a potion they failed to notice. News hit Duke Kazadex arrived soon. Diaz's health was key. Luckily, he was well. A runner sprinted to tell the worried village. Rana told Diaz to speak up if he felt sick. He thanked her just as a fancy carriage arrived, and a man stepped out, apologizing for his late arrival. Eldon greeted old friends, apologizing for the sudden visit. His tight schedule prevented notice, but they welcomed him anytime. He admitted his mother insisted on the trip to see Diaz, making it hard to break away despite important matters. The narrator. Eldon arrived on business to question Diaz and stay for a few days. Diaz agreed, providing food and camping for as long as they needed. Eldon made one more emotional request, to visit Diaz's village, stunning everyone present. Eager to see the village, the hero takes Eldon for a walk. A loud thank you's quickly hushed as the elder explains everyone is busy with dinner and field work. Looking down, the younger hero asks what's so special about these fields. When explained, no one knows why crops form circles, no explanation. Villagers stopped questioning, accepting it as life. Scene shifts, a character touches a cow, enjoying simple rural life. The animals looked incredible with expressive faces and sleek fur. Everyone agreed they seemed healthy and happy as the group continued their walk. He snapped to the horse its coat royal. Nervous, he forced calm. Asked what happened, he waved it off, loudly claiming nothing, then left. Sani and Akin are worried, and Diaz realizes his small field has grown into a total mystery. Since the crops look healthy, they're told to keep doing whatever they want. Animals joyfully say they love the village. I bow. One thanks Eldon for everything. Eldon's glad to see everyone cheerful. A man reports Skylia is finished, but Diaz suddenly collapses. Aruna rushes over, but Diaz blames simple exhaustion since his heart feels fine. They kept trying the drink. One described it as strong black tea, unlike anything he'd tasted. The elves confirmed, and he thanked them, spirits lifted, just as DS and Aruna stopped them. Diaz apologized for the girl's sketchy drink, but Eldon brushed it off. He drank it on purpose, using his super smell to confirm it wasn't poison, trusting Sinai, Sama, and Ikin's care. Heroes discussed the mysterious herb in their drink. One, shocked, suggested it was the legendary Sangiovanni from the gods' era, making them incredibly lucky. But Eldon dismissed it, just a common herb with a similar name. He prayed for the legendary Sangiovanni, but it was just a myth until this remedy felt so divine that Diasami's healer called it the real thing. Girls replied they had permission. He realized they only wanted to help, truly seeking to ease his pain. While Ardius rested, the girls got his permission to use the leaves. They brewed a healing tincture together and discussed it with Ama and Grahamamia. Hero defends the girls, they had his permission. He reminds them they promised to use dangerous herbs only with Arunas, then asks the kids if they're ready for bed, suggesting he turn off the light. Xenia and Aiken look happy, but Diaz knows they lost their parents to sickness. He thanks the kids for their support and says he's feeling better, earning a warm smile. He hugs two girls, feeling pathetic for failing to protect everyone, yet smiles through the struggle, drawing comfort from their embrace. Despite the struggle, he was finally happy, his deep bonds with everyone warming his soul. Embracing his loved ones, the man felt their unbreakable bond and called them family. Eldon groans in bed, making strange noises as a bystander blames his medication. Meanwhile, Diaz feels a surge of youthful power, realizing he's back in his prime, as a panicked witness calls for help. Eldon's suddenly energetic. Camelot says he's fine. Everyone's shocked. Yesterday's medicine worked because he normally needs daily doses, yet today he's running wild without any, stunning them with his strength. They debated Eldon's health. One claimed he just overexerted himself. The illness faded, but recovery takes time. Others doubted the herb since it worked too fast. They discussed Eldon's condition. One claimed he just overexerted, breathless, and while his illness receded, full recovery would still take time. Others doubted the healing herb. Its effect seemed too rapid. Inside a central tent, a hero summons the crowd as a man and woman step up to the table. The council debated the king's words. One member thanked them for the Sangiovania, his only way to show gratitude. A participant explained Sangiovanni's complicated situation. The medicine is gone, only seeds remain, and he doesn't want to seem like he's profiting. They discussed Sangiovanni's dangerous effects, admitting it's hard to control without evil intent. One noted others used it, not them, and the seed likely failed due to hay, so they suggested letting the They ignore the Sangiovanni and leave its fate to Sani and Ikin, promising help without needing any credit. A character warns Sangiovanni's discovery invites conflict demanding secrecy, but another eyes its potential, citing a dying man Sangiovanni could save, questioning their silence. Saving everyone was impossible, and the burden was too heavy for one person. They realized finding Sangiovanni was fate, just like Sani and Ikin, so they trusted the kids and left the rest to destiny. Daya believed fate led the save to Sani and Ikin. Any child's mistake, adults blamed on fate. Eldon ordered Camelos to swear the villages to secrecy immediately. Camelos agreed, and the meeting resumed as an official announced the king's decree. The duke could take a new surname, and the man retracted his previous claims. Dias gasped, offered a duke title, never imagining becoming a noble with a hereditary name. Others reacted with confusion. He tried explaining he was a simple citizen, no family name, but was told he'd be a Sancer. Reminded that landowners need surnames, Dias shocks the group by finally remembering his true name, Nitris. They discussed the Dias name. He admitted he hadn't considered it, suddenly flown in. Someone reminded him Dias must accept noble status, per His Majesty's order, so nothing could change. Finally, he read. Dias became a duke, gaining a new name and 3 years of safety. He secured official documents and royal orders, but this hard-earned title clearly hides a secret motive. Throne wars pushed the king toward abdication, making Duke Dias his last hope. Rumors suggest the king gave Dias his title specifically to create an ally powerful enough to challenge the royal family. At the meeting, they discussed Dias' fund. One explained delays from past losses required new prep, and the king requested mutual aid, but Dias refused the fund or people, claiming the king's help sufficed. Dias regretted not coming with royal gold. Maybe she wouldn't meet Eru, but a man happy with Illic life countered, hinting her motives were personal, tied to William. The hero vowed to protect the villagers and build a future together. They debated acting alone. One insisted, despite gratitude to Eldon, they must handle things themselves. Another stressed he'd manage people and finances, accepting the Lord's responsibilities. Aruna felt Dias' sincerity. He understood Dias but corrected 2 mistakes. Their bond was mutual, and Dias' efforts secured their victories, likely referring to Sangiovani. He explained government loans elevate noble status and voting power. He'd vote on the Dias budget, ensuring no losses, and an alliance would boost the king's influence. They decided to skip the loan repayment without hurting the king. Since the help wasn't free, Dias was told to drop the modesty. The girl then proposed a deal balancing the duke's demands with her father's plan for village. The woman lamented Illet's road, unfit for carts. Her friend was surprised, but others saw even Duke Kasadika's carriage struggle, proving repairs vital. A villager proposes a road from Illic to the city to replace the rough path and spark growth. Everyone agrees it's the key to their future, so they take a state loan to fund it. Eldon greenlit a road, boosting logistics and his access. Others suggested a security post, a well-equipped rest stop. This reminded observers of the DS style. They found it impressive. They headed out to find a project site over fresh tea, discussing how Juho was difficult, but his genius inspired them all. Discussing Duck, one praised his push for peace, while the other was shocked a military scientist hated war. Duck views war as useless. If humanity keeps fighting itself, the monsters win. He championed diplomacy as ultimate military science, serving on the Royal Council to push for swift peace, but incompetence accusations forced his resignation. Later, a character got a letter, surname required for a reply. He championed diplomacy as ultimate. They could take new, meaningful surnames for generations, with some planning to share one. But one character crumbled under the pressure, unable to pick a name, so the others laughed, saying he'd lost his nerve. Dias knew his family name would define his land and legacy. This rare honor had to be worthy of his future descendants. Dias brainstormed surnames but drew a blank, wishing someone else would decide. Suddenly, Uncle Ben entered, apologizing. Uncle Ben picked a new name after clearing it with Arn, Unoy, Sunne, and Ian. Stunned, Diaz demanded to know the choice before it was finalized. The old man reminded Diaz to drop formalities. He was an adult. He then penned Mayabadal as the surname, claiming it suited both Diaz and his land. He asks about the name Mayabadal, learning it means a hero protecting Mia, with battle being an ancient word for brave, and the old man thinks Diaz Mayabadal sounds perfect. Mia was chosen for tribal ties. Hero who protects Maya sounds positive. The old plane's name meant unnecessary, but the new one's way better. He suspected a hidden meaning in the name. Miyabata would link the fabric to the region, but Ben knew it would take years to launch. The old man wanted to build a temple, asking Diaz to keep the family name. Villagers often consulted the uncle, expecting him to build his own temple as his respected sermons and experienced advice were well received. The elder dedicated the temple to Meha, God's messenger. Since she spoke the divine tongue and brought the holy Arab Sanjikavani, her power was undeniable, so her name was added to the ruler's surname. Facing a long road, the old man stayed as their advisor, vowing to honor their parents by living up to his new name and its sacred connection to Meha. Diaz confirmed his surname was almost registered, just needing king's documents. That evening, a banquet honored his new title and name, with Eldon and friends staying to celebrate. Diaz asked about their patronymics or surnames. The woman explained they don't use surnames, so she struggled to understand the custom, but suggested naming the plain Miyabadal. The listening girls quickly understood. It was about patronymics. Diaz's daughters proudly call themselves Senya and Ikin. Diaz explains patronymics, names based on parents, ancestors, or spouses. Praised for their quick learning, the girls celebrate their success. A surname makes kids heirs, demanding noble behavior. She wondered if she could take a noble name and make Sane and Aiken heirs. He approved the name but left the choice to the girls, refusing to force noble life on kids, while the woman warned they'd soon find it annoying. The guest thanked Diaz for the invite, having fun. Diaz replied he was glad. Later, the man noticed Senichin and Ahenshin's kids kept eyeing him and Camlots. Diaz explained we were happy because Eldon and Camlots were finally recovering. Since we lost our parents to that same plague, seeing others heal moved us. The man finally understood our smiles, amazed by how friendly. The hero confessed ignorance on small species, thanked them, suggesting the environment fit. The other hero realized his inexperience, knowing he must improve, yet felt joy and gratitude among them. Feldon couldn't thank them enough for this new future. He'd always fought to end hate, but feared he'd run out of time. Seeing everyone united humbled him, fueling his vow to spread this peace to the hero asked Diaz for help, wanting to meet not as authority but as a person, admitting his need, and Diaz promised everything, showing serious intent to support. The heroes gathered for nobility class. One admitted he was behind, so the teacher explained how the system fuels competition, ranking everyone from baron to duke. The lesson detailed the duke's role, highest noble, unique land rights, buying, selling, developing plots, crucial for economic growth and power. Mid-lesson, the hero points to the map and offers to sell his land, demanding a fair price for personal reasons rather than gratitude, leaving his partner stunned. Learning Diaz's wood came from Aranak village, he questioned its origin and suspected it was stolen. Realizing the wood was stolen, the girl apologized and offered a sale, but Diaz demanded cash, suggesting they buy the land to skip the red tape. Diaz understood buying the forest, but warned dukes must balance interests and can't just sell inhabited land. The girl didn't know the price, so Diaz pondered their offer. Diaz offered materials from 2.5 wind dragons, shocking the group. It's worth a fortune, even if the payment is bizarre. LDAN framed it as training, pushing for formalities, but Diaz, unprepared for negotiations and feeling out of place, entrusted the matter to LA, who'd already secured timber payments. Eldon finished his deals and training, heading home satisfied. Laura apologized for hiding the forest, but Diaz wasn't mad, respecting the tribe's privacy since Eldon stayed quiet. Diaz promised to resolve ogre disputes. The village returned to normal, but the calm was deceptive. The girls constantly demanded forest adventures, causing problems. When migratory birds arrive, winter prep begins. They gather salt, hunt, and store food while following strict rules. Don't disturb other villages and stay sharp during the hunt. 2 girls begged to enter the forest, but the man explained rights registration wasn't done. He needed time. The determined girls wouldn't wait. They'd once lived there with families. Everyone cheered when she got forest access. With autumn closing in, they'd have to harvest daily and recruit Maya's help. Aruna happily announced daily forest trips begin tomorrow, exciting everyone for the harvest, but adults knew it meant serious work stocking winter supplies. An adult warns of poison and monsters, but he trusts the girls to follow the rules and survive. Diaz tells Arani he knows edible forest mushrooms, a skill from surviving as a war orphan. The surprised girl notes the kingdom's many eastern forests. Knowledge is key to finding food in the forest. The man in the photo advised dog owners, using his priestly past to help Franci through her labor. Heroes foraged mushrooms, one new forest food, surviving as a war orphan. The girl, surprised, confessed she'd never eat them. They discussed preparation, frying, boiling, drying. The heroine used purification magic to find edible mushrooms, but her companion stopped her from picking a toxic one, explaining that only the fluffy-capped ones are safe. Heroine learned from Diaz, realizing he was reliable. Her arrogance gone, she now respected and thanked him. Meanwhile, the girls searched for food, finding a nut tree. Kids gathered nuts, but an adult noticed they only took 30%. He was shocked. Seni and Lakin already knew the rules against overharvesting. A heroine warns overgathering disrupts nature, stunting plants, starving animals, and hurting humans. Kids follow rules, adults clean trash, prep for winter, taking only necessities. Today was for learning rules, but work remains. They prep wood and plan the hunt, spare breeding females, and target the old to save the young. Prepping for winter, the man says the rich forest yields food with hard work. He mentions animal lure powder, but tracking is key. The girl praises his masculinity, saying winter's brutal without a strong man. Relieved, she confessed her fear of starving through the winter. Now, thanks to her husband, she felt safer than ever, calling this her happiest year yet. But her husband knew the truth, their winter prep had. Driven by expectations, he pushed through the pressure while his team gathered resources in the forest. Diaz examined the potatoes, debating keeping some. Two girls approached, asking if he found potatoes. He invited them to see his find. The girls carefully inspected them, sniffing the tubers. Girls explained taste doesn't matter, only tubers' strength and growth. Eat weak ones, transplant strong ones to boost the harvest. The girls warn that crowding potatoes makes them weak, so spacing them out ensures a massive harvest and tubers strong as trees. Diaz remembered the girls' tree advice: fewer grow better, moderation lets sunlight through. He realized too many. Diaz found plenty of mushrooms, but they tasted awful. The girls explained the dense forest stunts good trees and rare herbs. Diaz offered to clear space, but they warned him it's not that easy, he has to. Hero laughed when told Senai and Ikin were forest teachers, explaining which trees to cut. The girls were surprised to be called teachers. Adults suggested trying again, praising their efforts. Aruna spotted strange, new mushrooms. Suddenly, one shifted and transformed, catching her off guard. Realizing they weren't normal, she braced herself as it blasted a cloud of spores at her. Hero screams Aruna's name, seeing her motionless on the ground. Nearby, a giant mushroom loomed, horrifying everyone. The girls warned Diaz about the magic gas mushroom and its lethal spores, but he ignored them and charged straight into the cloud. Diaz lunged, slicing through the mushroom's spores. The mushroom resisted, spewing more gas. Determined, Diaz swung his sword to finish it. The team rushed to Aruna, relieved she was safe. They'd been ambushed by a gas mushroom, a forest monster spraying toxic powder. Diaz worried if the mushroom was poison, but they assured him AR would be fine, just sick for a while, as she stirred and weakly uttered his name. Poisoned and fading, Aruna calls Diaz her prince on a white horse, leaving him stunned. Poisoned by the powder, Aru raved about Diaz's boundless bravery, while others noticed it caused hallucinations and weird behavior. Drugged and rambling, Aruna denied her royal blood, while the girls sang an eerie song about a jealous king of leaves. Stranger heard an old song, surprised by another singer, thought it was magic. The girl denied it, so they put it off. At camp, Aruna quickly recovered, and someone ignored the strange events. Diaz asks about the mushrooms, and she confirms she fried them as he suggested. Everyone loves the taste, but Aruna stays uneasy. Diaz notices she's avoiding his gaze and wonders why. The next day, the hero sat in the yurt, lost in thought over a map or planting scheme, as sheep lay quietly beside him. One bleated, sensing his worry. She weighed a foreign road proposal to link the east and west, funneling trade through her village. By routing it through the center via a forest path, she'd sell local goods and grow her power. He wanted to develop the settlement for everyone, but couldn't sacrifice Mia's irreplaceable sheep pastures, knowing the Oni tribe also sought growth. Then, the sheep stared, snapping him from his thoughts. Diaz misread the sheep's warning as advice to put himself first. Seeing potential in the intersections, he began plotting his next move to divide them. Hero worried about money, but the sheep, unworried and claiming everything was planned, distracted him with a meeting and dinner. They warned Diaz to guard the map. A council member backed his plan but insisted Aruna and the other reps weigh in. Diaz asked for more input, but the girl explained Aruna speaks for the village and the choice must be collective. Zort loved Aruna's mushrooms and can now spot poisonous ones. Diaz still hasn't reached the chief, but Zort's sudden arrival shocks everyone as the dog confirms the chief needs Daya's ASAP. Arun's brother praised his achievements, giving him a surname and dukedom, tasking him with road and village development. Diaz and a hero recalled discussing roads with Iluk villagers, planning an intersection to boost travel and trade. They discussed building a road, west-east first then north-south. One warned a tribe might object if they built themselves, so he'd get permission, though it wouldn't be easy. She wanted no conflict. As they talked, one struggled with road ownership and land rights. He couldn't solve it, so the other told him to stop overthinking and get straight to the point. A hero suggested splitting the plain between the village and tribe, sharing the center roads, but the other guy paused, realizing that split would block north or east-west routes. Diaz revealed the four-way split is a lie. To stop fights, use roads freely while his pigeons map the area and mark boundaries with white stakes. The hero asked if the plan was approved. Everyone agreed. He confirmed even Aruna was in, but worried old inhabitants might think one tribe took half, making another character ask if they'd fought. With no better plan, the hero proposed a simple split. The tribe keeps half while the kingdom stands, and he controls the rest. Zord said he'd just agree to the proposal. Others noted they'd lose a war, so half the plain was already a victory, like conquering it all. If Aruna's kids inherit, her family takes control. He suspects this was her plan from the start, and after the wedding, Diaz agreed to the deal. He understood Aruna's sharing was a long-term plan. His leader would join another tribe as her own, so he demanded details on the duke and kingdom's laws to negotiate terms. He vows to crush the old woman while his ally gloats. Then we head to Malangal in the western Cascades. Hooded figures met secretly. One demanded payment, the other silently paid. Then a long-haired blonde man appeared, respectfully called Meza Sama. Richard's ally Norius watches Meza from the shadows, knowing her scheme has begun. If her illegal goods hit this market, mass poisonings will spark total chaos, and Norius is powerless to stop the body count. Rumors fly. Eldon Sama, newly riding and fencing, seems nobler. As the economy booms, whispers suggest he seeks a dukedom. The city's transformed, gourmet food is now common, and the streets are buzzing with life. One man admits that despite hating cities, he feels safe here because every race lives in peace. The man respects Eldon's merits but must destroy the city for Prince Richard. He hesitates. The city thrives, but Eldon's endless spending guarantees ruin. A man spots a rhino woman with kids out late. He assumes they're family, but they're actually different species. He's stunned by how safe the city feels, even at midnight. Watching peaceful species interact, he succumbed to the city's atmosphere, realizing his important mission couldn't change things. Scanning the report, he saw someone was smuggling goods inside. He dismissed his assistant, wondering who was behind a plot that threatened the entire city. The tribe leader fulfills the agreement, handing over their part of the plain, but won't formalize it yet, only officially later, stating they'll either form their own state or fall to Diaz. The elder verified the evidence, confirmed the village's support, and promoted him to second chief candidate. The elder reassigns roles. He leads the expedition, giving interlocutor guard command. More people and problems, especially unstable dragons, will arrive once the road opens, so strengthening the guard eases the expedition's burden and ensures safety. The elder seals the alliance, promising the guards protection. He warns that while the allies surrendered land wisely, they must watch for betrayal, proving he's still a sharp leader. Eldon collapses mid-training, but refuses to quit, ignoring his worried teammates' pleas to rest. Eldon, though tired, keeps training to catch Diaz. Diaz sneezed. Everyone asked if he was cold. Girls laughed, offering to warm him up, teasing Aruna until she shyly begged them to stop.